Dear Kenya, 5 years are gone. We are here again. We are here to build a resolute Kenya. We are here to build a peaceful Kenya. We are here to build a better Kenya. It is your right and responsibility to participate in a peaceful, free, fair and credible election. It is your civic right, your religious duty and your social responsibility. My dear Kenya, on 9th August and after the election day, I urge you to pursue peace and prosperity of our beloved country through word and deed. Listen to this. Accept the election results that are announced by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, appreciating that only the IEBC has the authority to announce election results. Encourage anyone who is dissatisfied with the election results to seek redress in courts of law as provided for in the Constitution of Kenya, and refuse to participate in mass action or demonstrations regardless of provocation or incitement before, during or after the elections. May this be an election with a difference. Do your part, Kenya. Pray for peace, and as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone as recorded in Romans 12 verse 18. Always remember, mimi ni Mkenya, wewe ni Mkenya, sisi ni wa Kenya. God bless Kenya. Yours sincerely, Kenya.
And a very good morning to you viewers here on The Tackle. We are live today on the day after our elections, where we went and queued and voted for our leaders, the ones who are going to be serving us for the next 5 years. You are on The Tackle with Gerald Bitok. My name is Mudhoni. My friends call me Mso. And as usual, we are here and we are about to tell you what is happening so far. People, we ask for patience as the results continue coming in. Now, where we are at, according to the IEBC, the media houses, there is a certain percentage of tallying that has happened. We are not anywhere close. We are probably around 2 or 3 million out of the 12 million votes that have been officially reported. And people are anxious and people are really waiting to see what is going to happen. We really do appreciate you joining us on this broadcast, and we quickly want to start as usual with a prayer. And you know how we do it here on The Tackle. We are going to be having our prayer with the national anthem. Wherever you are are one person that we respect. We respect our viewers and we love you, and we do appreciate your presence around. We appreciate your messages. I can see your messages, and you are making my phone hang, people. Just be patient. So in the meantime, as we wait for Steve to put our national anthem, we ask you to continue giving us information of what is going on. Let us say a quick word of prayer, then we quickly go to the news of the day. A lot is happening, and we will be giving you that information right here on The Tackle, live with Gerard Bitok. National anthem, please.
Nguvu yetu
Awesome. Karibu sana mtazamaji wetu hapa kwenye Tackle. You are most welcome to the Tackle. We are live here with our Captain Gerard Bitok. He is home. It has come home here on the Tackle after an arduous day yesterday, going down to Mashinani, checking out what is happening with the voting patterns, with the results, and with essentially what was happening on the ground. And some breaking news right now. The Ministry of Education has announced that schools will not be reopening tomorrow. We are yet to get the official press release that we will be posting on our page. What has happened, that the Ministry of Education has announced that our students and pupils will not be resuming school tomorrow as was anticipated, because essentially we have not done what we were supposed to do. We have not had the official release of the election results. And now I want to go directly to our Captain Gerald Bitok. He is home and he is here with a lot of information. Bitok, tell us what has been happening. Huko kwenye umekuaje, and tell us what you think about the Ministry of Education telling us that our children are not going back to school tomorrow. Today I'm interviewing you.
All right, I saw you actually doing a very good job yesterday. I was watching you did an amazing job. I didn't know you can actually do such a beautiful job. So
yes, I can.
I'm very impressed.
Oh, thank you. I learned from the best. I learned from you.
I owe you some chocolates. And I'm saying my laptop is not coming on. I was trying to see if I can get in some few comments. I just needed a very, very, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to have you again. Nilikuwa nimeenda murando kusikia wananchi wanasemaje pale kwenye ground. We had a very good time. Muko, nimeona you guys, you turned out actually to vote. And the most impressive thing about this election actually is how it's going down.
Yeah.
Those who have lost, they are saying, enyewe,
nimekubali matokeo.
Nimeanguka miguu iko juu. Asanteni sana kwa ile kidogo mlinipigia.
Wanaanguka. Miguu iko juu Bitok. Miguu iko juu.
Unajua hakuna kuanguka ingine, labda anguke na tumbo.
Ndio ukisema hivyo tunawaomba tafadhali, hajamaanisha hivyo mnafikiria.
I want to be very clear that you need to get your head out of the gutters.
Sio hiyo.
Mwanguko amende. That's it. And you see wananchi also are very calm. Wananchi are not bothered at all by what is going on. And I mean, pongezi sana. I wish to go. Sijui kama nakuanga na makofi hapa. Acha nione kama kuna makofi.
Kuna makofi.
Acha nione kama kuna makofi hapa. Inafaa kuwa na makofi.
Iko makofi.
Sina makofi. Lakini ongezeni sana makofi sana kwa wananchi. Thank you so much wananchi ambao umeweza kujimanage vizuri sana. Barikiwa zaidi, barikiwa sana. Hata nitatengeneza niweke makofi hapa. Mimi nitafutianga makofi hapo Steve. Ukipata makofi kuja uniwekea hapa. Lazima tupigie watu makofi. Leo wananchi pongezi sana. Guys are following around. So I was actually driving. The roads are very clear.
Yeah.
No incidences, nobody is hanging around the roads. Wananchi wamekubali uchaguzi vile umeenda. But I have a problem also. The media are not updating the data as should be. You know,
I'll tell you this.
Like these guys are still stuck at 1 million. I mean,
I'll tell you this, Gerald. I've been worried about that because what is happening on the IEBC website, we are way out there. We have got results that have been posted there for around 40,000 plus stations, and that means that we are supposed to be having 6-7 million votes counted depending on where they will go. So I am concerned why we are taking our time. In fact, we were discussing it in the studio before we went on air, and we were saying, okay, this delay is not very friendly. We would want to have the news coming in because, you know, justice delayed is justice denied. What do you think about that?
Justice denied. That's it. So we are getting some data that are coming in from independent tallying, and these are the numbers that are coming in from the collected from 34S from IEBC. And we are standing. Let me. The reason the last bit looks like this. Let me see. The last bit we're looking at how many total casted votes.
Out of the 12 million that were casted yesterday.
You're looking at 3 million. 3.6 million
Yes.
for William Ruto, and 3.3 million for Raila Odinga, 2,861 for Wajakoya. These are the results that I'm getting from independent tallying that has been the collation of Form 34S from IEBC. And you look at the lead of William Ruto at 52% against Raila Amolo Odinga at 47%. The total votes casted was 6.98. That's what we have received at the moment.
So far.
6.98. That's almost 7 million, right? Yeah, so that's the numbers that we're looking at. But if we find anything new, I don't know why these guys are delaying with the Form 34As, but we'll be doing what we do best. Yeah, we'll be doing our own examples.
We will be doing what we do best, and as the purpose of us being out there is that we are able to get the information, and we are getting credible information. We have said it repeatedly. If it has not been reported on the tackle, then guess what? It has not happened yet. So anytime you want that credible, the bold, the unrivaled, and the very sure information, tune in on the Tackle Live with Gerald Bitok, and you will be getting all that information. And we want to ask for patience and for tolerance and for perseverance from our people. And also, Gerald, I want to emphasize and I want to remind the people that the Ministry of Education, the MOE, has changed the school opening dates from the 11th, that was supposed to be tomorrow, to the 15th, that is next week on Monday. Prepare your children, take your time with your children, let the issues of elections settle, and do your thing, take your time, do their shopping, pay their fees, because the school opening is now on the 15th of August 2022, and this we are telling you live here on the Tackle that the Ministry of Education has announced that the school opening has been rescheduled from the 11th of August to the 15th of August. You're getting that information first here on the Tackle Live with Gerald Bitok. A lot is happening. We will be giving you the information even when we are not live. Follow us on our social media accounts on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. We will be posting for you everything that has been declared by the government and by the institutions that are mandated to do what they are mandated. We ask Kenyans to be very wary of false information. It is the digital age of social media, so let us be very careful about the information that we consume. And Gerald, I will hand over the baton to you so that you can tell us how we proceed from here.
All right, okay, thank you so much. But the Ministry of Education as well is behaving very weirdly. So walisema shule zinafunguliwa sijui siku gani, sasa wamesongesha. But anyway, good morning to you, Dr. Good to see you.
Good morning. Yeah, talking of education.
Ulikuwa kapedo.
Makofi ya KANU. Funga.
Fungua. Yes. Others, you doing what?
I'm very well. A bit tired. A very long trip yesterday to go and vote.
Lakini jana uliniacha mataani.
No, you're not serious because she'll have called. I told you I'll be in Nakuru earlier than you.
But if you go there earlier than me,
I
then
was
you should
trying to
have
beat
called
the fog and mist in Limuru.
Which had actually also taken a break. So I think it had also gone for elections.
Yep.
All right, you've seen the numbers. I don't know, what do you make of this?
Well, first of all, I think what's coming out is that a lot of Kenyans, I mean, our prediction of about, is it last month or 2 months ago?
Yes.
Where we said that actually about 40% of Kenyans are not interested in this election.
Okay.
We try to encourage them to go vote, but it's now coming to reality that indeed, I think about 40% of Kenyans did not turn out to vote.
That is a huge number.
It's a huge number. I know the opinion polls tries to manipulate it to say it's only 9 to 10% last week when we were discussing this. But the truth is now revealing itself. It's about 54, 56%, which is close to what we had predicted, 40%. So Kenyans are very tired. And I think, what does that mean? It means that Kenyans were actually, were looking for somebody different from the usual characters. And a lot of people, I tried as much as I can for the last 2 weeks to actually tell Kenyans, just go and vote. Because You cannot say that you don't want to vote, and then the next day you are blaming a government, you're expecting goodies from a government. So for me, it's coming to reality that about 40% of Kenyans are not interested in this vote because of they are not just satisfied with the way the whole things were done. I mean, we had a show here where we focused on the nomination process for presidential candidates and how IEBC handled that. The conclusion was that IEBC actually bungled this election because of the manner in which it handled the nomination process. And there are a lot of Kenyans who are actually expecting new people. They wanted somebody different, an alternative. And the question about the third force was always on the table. So to be honest, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I think Kenyans are just fed up. Yeah.
Okay. That's it. So many Kenyans are fed up. And we were just saying it right now, the way Kenyans are actually minding their business. For the first time, the politicians are minding the business of Kenyans.
Absolutely.
Kenyans just busy minding their own businesses. Watu wanaanguka, wanaangukiwa. And I mean, nobody seems to be really bothered. Do you think we've come at a place as a democracy that we begin to be civilized people in terms of ballot politics? Or we are just tired.
Of course not. I think the fact that now about 40% of Kenyans are did not vote or were not interested in this vote tells you a story. They are actually looking forward for an alternative. But the problem now is the state capture. I mean, we discussed about the state capture here before. And the state capture has extended even to independent institutions like IEBC. Because had IEBC opened up the nomination process, had it done it openly and honestly to everyone, then I think Kenyans would be able to say, okay, I have a candidate of my choice on the table. Let me go and vote for them. Yeah. So that, for me, seems to be the problem. It's not Kenyans, actually. It is the state capture. I think this 40% is revealing the fact that Kenyans wanted an alternative leader. But IEBC denied them that opportunity. When they, for example, they mishandled the whole nomination process, disqualified many of us who are qualified. We had everything, but we are just locked out. And it's an indictment on IEBC right now that 40% of Kenyans are saying, no, we don't want to participate in a shambolic election process. So on the one hand, for the first time, I will say, I am happy with Kenyans. Kenyans are making a statement. At least those 40%. I mean, I voted reluctantly because I needed to vote somebody so that tomorrow I can have a voice, I can have a reason why I want to criticize the government. But there are a number of Kenyans. I mean, 40%, if you can think about it. We're talking about, 12 million eligible voters, against 22 million. So maybe, I don't know, did we even have 22 million voters in the first place? Or these figures were just cooked?
In this country where we live in, Gerald, I'll tell you a fact. I do agree with Daktari that we could be operating on numbers that are neither here nor there. But I will agree with you on one thing. We cannot promise Kenyans a buffet. Then we give them a choice of ugali and mchele. Yet we did promise them a buffet that will include chapati, matoke, arrowroots, and all that kind of, you know what it is that entails a fully fledged, full 10-foot table of a variety. So indeed, I do agree with you that Kenyans were worried that we had 40-something presidential candidates. 47, yes. And we ended up with 4 that everybody was asking what criteria was used. We had a gentleman who even came here on the tackle and he burned his ID and he was very upset. You do remember that there was that guy, he was like, yes, and he was saying that really I am not happy. I did what was supposed to be done and I was ruled out. But there is something that Daktari has said that I would want us to maybe talk about, that indeed as much as you are disgruntled, what value is it to boycott an election and you know that whether or not you vote, there is going to be somebody in the next 5 years sitting in that office. So indeed, yes, we can feel the voice of protest. And for the 3 of us and the rest of the guys who are here, who are aware, we do feel the sense of protest. But at the end of the day, what is the bottom line? Still, somebody was elected. It was an argument we had online yesterday evening. We stayed up until 3 a.m. and we were talking about it and we were asking, if you want to protest, why don't you work with the options that are there instead of just deciding I will not take a choice. Yet other people will still take a choice and they'll still be somebody. I think Gerald and Daktari, maybe we can try and discuss that with Kenyans as they send to us their messages, that it is an effort in futility to fail to vote, because at the end of the day, somebody will still be voted
Someone
in.
will make that decision for you.
So I see the conflict between freedom of choice. I mean, somebody's fundamental freedom to vote or not to vote. But see, if you don't vote, then you deny yourself the opportunity to be able to critique that government, to call that government into account. But on the other hand, I still believe, and that's why for me, I drove all the way yesterday to Turkana to vote, because I believe it's my civic duty. It's my constitutional right to vote.
You drove?
Yeah.
Yes, he was there.
Yes.
You did not take a flight?
In Mashinan.
No, I drove.
You drove.
I am traumatized.
He's a good president. He's a good president.
That's a good president material, because I come from Thika and the roads drive me crazy. So if you drove to Turkana,
Yes.
Kenyans, are you listening?
I drove to Turkana yesterday. I left here at 4 a.m. I was in my polling station by 10:30, voted, and I drove back. I was getting back to Nairobi about 6:30.
How many kilometers are those?
We were talking about 6 hours drive. Yeah. So I went to vote. I mean, and along the way, of course, I stopped and talked to people, and people are really disgruntled. People are very unhappy with the way what they've been subjected into, especially this presidential vote. People feel that they are not given choices. A lot of guys were denied the opportunity. I mean, not necessarily speaking for myself. In 2017, the same Chebukati actually qualified me to run for president of Kenya, using the same paperwork. This year, he says you don't qualify. So a lot of guys were telling me, cool, what happened? Even up to now, I'm getting messages, guys asking me, we didn't see your name in the ballot. But you see, I was telling Kenyans, those old things was choreographed. To lock out credible candidates. And the 40% of Kenyans who did not turn up speaks to that, and we shouldn't really be worried. I mean, whoever forms the next government, I mean, I wish them well, but they should know that they don't have an approval of 40% of Kenyan voters. That is serious.
That hurts, Gerald.
Yeah.
It does, but then again, where do we place that blame? Because every other Kenyan had an opportunity to vote, and they made the decision not to vote. So where exactly do we put that blame? Because we cannot put it on the candidates.
No, I mean, I think for me,
because
I'll start by putting the blame on the referee itself.
Okay.
If the referee decides not to play a certain team, against others, then you're denying the supporters of that team to support that team. And that's exactly what it means. Okay. When IEBC, for example, decided that they want to disqualify through flimsy reasons, some of us, applied in, differential treatment of all candidates. Then, essentially, what they are saying, the supporter base of that candidate were disgruntled. Okay. They saw no point of voting. Yeah, and that's exactly where and of course, over and above that, Kenyans are saying we are tired of the same names. Every 5 years, every 10 years, the same people. Kenya is a country of 50 million Kenyans. 50 million. Are you trying to tell me that in this country there aren't any other credible candidates, Kenyans who can actually run this country? There are many qualified Kenyans. But see, the way the system is, and I'm so happy that the issue of state capture is now a common dialogue in our political discourse. Yeah. And it speaks to exactly the fact that because of state capture, certain individuals are so entitled. They have this warped belief that they are entitled. It's only them who can present themselves as leaders of this country. And that's where Kenyans are saying no. With your entitlement, we don't care. Yeah. We're not coming to vote you. And that speaks to about 40% of Kenyans who have refused to vote.
All right. And talking about state capture, many of the guys who are actually pro-government in Azimio in central Kenya have gone home. Kanini Kega was there voting.
The deepest deep state ever was.
He is gone.
Kieni.
Kieni, but he was holding a position in parliament. So he's gone home. We've also had
Wanjiri
Wambugu has gone home as well.
Nyeri.
I mean, when you look, most of the guys who are pro-government in central Kenya are fallen, and also almost across the country. I don't know, what do you make of this? Even in Nyanza region, you are seeing independent candidates coming. Kidero has beaten Wanga 10 years.
NONI BELLE.
I don't know, what do you make of this phenomenon?
I think there's a wind of change that's coming into Kenya. I mean, the only thing that is denying Kenyans that change is the institutions we bestow the responsibility and duty to manage that change. And in this particular case, it's the IEBC. For example, I mean, speaking of, say, Homa Bay, let's speak example of Homa Bay.
Yes.
Kidero was doing very well. He was the most popular candidate, but ODM denied him a ticket because Raila did not like Kidero. But the people are speaking otherwise. So from party politics, the way we manage our party politics, that tells you that something is fundamentally wrong. Kenya is in the cusp of renewal, in my view. And I think that Kenyans are making the right steps into the right direction. And we only hope that we can get very independent institutions that will manage the aspirations of Kenyans. And those aspirations, for example, relates to the way in which this election is being managed. You've seen, for example, how even President Uhuru Kenyatta himself has failed to be a statesman. He's finishing his 2 terms, but he's being so partisan, so personal. I have no problem with him casting a vote in favor of his candidate, but the manner in which he has come out openly to show bias, he has actually reduced the statesmanship in this country. So, and you can see what Kenyans are saying. I mean, I think William Ruto is leading.
Yes.
He is leading, and that's a protest vote. Kenyans are saying, no, enough is enough. I think we need to be given the opportunity to make our own decisions. It's not fair for anybody to transplant on us a certain type of leadership. I think we are growing as a democracy, and Kenyans are increasingly becoming bold and independent on their decisions, and I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Yeah.
Okay. What do you make of it, Mso?
I'm looking at it from a slightly different perspective that indeed, yes, I do agree with Daktari that Uhuru as an individual, outside of the state office that he's hold, as an individual, he has a right to have an opinion, yes. And I also do agree with Daktari that he was openly, he had his choice. Now, what we are used to is that outgoing presidents, with Moi, with former President Moi, the late, God rest his soul, he also had his choice. But if you recall, maybe we were slightly young at that time, but we do not remember that kind of force or that kind of young. Yes.
The imposition.
No, the imposition is what is making Kenyans ask themselves, is there something sinister behind it? And if you look at what the opinion on our social sites, nowadays the world is a global village, so we can even be communicating with people who are as far as Australia and Greenland and New Zealand, and we can see the general opinion. I saw a clip about Tanzanians, and they were discussing the Ruto-Uhuru issue. And these are Tanzanians. You can tell completely that these are people who are deeply rooted to their politics there. And they were saying really that Uhuru and Ruto fell out when Uhuru backstabbed Ruto. And these are Tanzanians who are saying that. I'm not saying that. Honestly, here on the tackle, we are bipartisan. We do not take a side. But I heard that from somebody outside of our country, somebody who's not a voter here, who's not even a resident here. So I do agree with Daktari that indeed that imposition, we got to a point where we are feeling that our opinion or even our mandate as a sovereign people has been usurped by the state, and that we are being subjected, that you have got to do this or else. There was that or else kind of thing. I do remember recently one of the legislators, former Gatundu MP Moses Kuria Gatundu North, he said that he was posting stuff on his social media and he was saying this is happening, the chiefs are doing this and that and the other. And then the DCI posts and says, now, if Moses Kuria has a complaint, let him bring it to us. He has not brought it to us officially. And I went through the feed, the Twitter feed and the Facebook feed of the DCI page. like 99% of Kenyans, around 10K comments, and Kenyans are saying, no, we cannot report to you because you have been captured by the state. You are probably party to it. And I was thinking to myself, if this is what the Kenyans, according to the CAK, the Kenyans that are on Facebook are around 5 million.
Yes.
If all those, as a huge percentage of them are thinking that the DCI, and you know that DCI page is really loved by Kenyans. People love going there and making comments. But if all of them are thinking that when the DCI says Moses Kuria should bring this report to us about the chiefs and the provincial administration doing something sinister about buying IDs, he should bring to us. And Kenyans are overwhelmingly saying that no, bringing it to you will amount to nothing. It is the same thing that Daktari is saying, that when you see 40% of registered voters, we do expect maybe 10% people will be unwell. Some of them may be passed on recently, or some of them are in the post of have not been able to travel. 10-20%, yes. But if 40% are saying, no, we are not going to go to the ballot, it is a protest. It is the same protest, Gerald and Daktari, that we are seeing on our social networks, that people are saying to the DCI, we are not going to report to you. Not because we don't know that that's where we're supposed to report, but because we don't trust you enough that we prefer to deal with the court of public opinion. We tell the people out there that beware that the chiefs are doing this. And it is not my opinion as an individual or as a journalist, but it is what I saw that people were saying, that indeed state capture has gotten to a point that people are even afraid to say that there's a thief that is in my backyard, because you never know whether it is the government that has sent them. You saw what happened to DPP Haji and the response of the people that no, it cannot be just ordinary thugs that raided Haji. There's something and to me, if I were Uhuru, I'm an outgoing president, and my people are telling me that blatantly on social networks. And do not forget that the world is a global village courtesy of social networks. So indeed, the way we are seeing that, the entire world is seeing that people are saying the state is tormenting its own DPP. The state is not going to be responsive enough to chiefs buying ID cards and denying people the chance to vote. So indeed, as we are looking at 40% of people who haven't voted, we don't even know how many did not vote because the IDs were bought. We don't know the ones who are doing the protest. So even as we would want that protest to be credible, we are sitting back and asking how many were suppressed and how many indeed were protesting. So we still are there trying to figure out the numbers. So yes, that's where we are.
So you know, Bitok, I mean, speaking of Uhuru, I mean, of course, he's a coward who even took off from Twitter because he does not like people calling him out to account. But I think one of the lessons we must learn from this election is that Kenyans are protesting against the individualization of our public affairs.
Personalization of power.
Personalization of power. And Kenyans are saying, you cannot tell us who to vote and who not to vote. And this 40%, for me, is a protest. They are actually saying to the establishment, this country belongs to all of us in equal measure. So it cannot be that you, President Uhuru, we've given you the opportunity for 10 years. Then all of a sudden, you're imposing on us a candidate of your choice. What really is up the sleeve? And that's part, for me, I think the question that many Kenyans are asking. Why is it? I drove yesterday, I stopped in Mogotio, I stopped in Marigat, and Ginyang, and on my way to Kapedo where I voted. And I was just having a conversation with people. And you know what people are asking? Why is Uhuru pushing Raila on us? These are ordinary folks. They're already suspicious. So this thing of entitlements of Kenya being personalized by certain individuals who, wield power, who think they can influence, is so wrong. And I really wish that these 40% of Kenyans can begin a revolution to change this country, and to take it away from these so-called entitled individuals. Because that, for me, is part of the problem that we have in Kenya. There are people who think that if they don't, play politics in Kenya, nobody else should play. And to be honest, I've said it many times, and I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not in the ballot. Many other credible people are not in the ballot. But there's only one person in that ballot who may not necessarily be the best that Kenya deserves, but who can actually help us turn a new chapter in the political history of our country. And I'm not afraid to say it is William Ruto. Because the Odingaism and the Kenyattaism in this country, right from independence, whether for good or for bad, have actually set us in a certain path where we find ourselves either fighting each other, or conveniently collaborating for their own personal benefit. I mean, look, I was having a debate this morning with a friend who was telling me, and even Professor Manyora and others were telling me, no, I'm being unfair, picking out on the Odingas and the Kenyattas. But I was telling him, no, let's go back memory lane. Let's go back to the independence period. From 1960s, Kenyatta and Odinga, Jaramogi Odinga, formed the first government in this country. 3 years later, after independence, they actually parted ways.
Yes.
It became a conflict, and Kenya, the rest of Kenya was actually, drawn into that conflict of two individuals, the Kenyatta and the Odinga. Okay? Fast forward, 1980s, 1982, Raila Odinga tries to overthrow a legitimate government in Kenya. Okay? He was in prison. It still became the Kenyatta, the Moi, supported by the Kenyattas. Okay? 1997, Kenyatta, Odinga decides to go into cooperation with Kanu. It's still the Odingas, the Moi, yeah. It's still the Odingas with Moi, supported by the Kenyattas. 202, the same thing. 2007. So when I tell Kenyans, listen, I think we need to turn a new leaf in our political history. Kenya cannot be described in the context of just two families or two names, whether for good or for bad. People saying, the Odinga agitated for the independence, for the democratic space in this country. First of all, it's a historical lie. I know of Matibas, Koigi Wamweres, and many others who died agitating for independence of this country. Anyonas, many other people. Timothy Njoya, who is still alive, agitated for that. So for people to take credit as an individual as if he worked alone, and that's why for me I'm saying I may not necessarily support William Ruto because he's been part of the system, say from 1992. But in terms of turning that leaf, that political chapter in Kenya, so that we remove what I call, excuse my words, the political cancer in Kenya, I think we just need to bite the bullet. After all, what choices are we being given right now? Do we have any choices?
So amongst the choices that we have,
like we said in this show earlier, you have to choose you want to be eaten, either by a crocodile or a hippopotamus,
So it is the
or a hyena or a jackal.
the lesser of all those evils.
But one would wonder, I don't know, there's something that I'm finding very interesting at this point is about the results that are coming in. And William Ruto has maintained an early lead, still maintains a lead. And we've been told a long time about all these other things, about the fact that the government is in control of the elections, the deep state and all these other things. And if you could feel the air yesterday, there was an air of panic that maybe the government can pull in a plug. And let's look at this. Let's go back to the handshake that we've discussed here several times and the reason why it came forth and the confidence that has been behind it. What do you think went wrong? What went wrong?
I'll tell you this. As somebody who has been married for the last 20 years, my wife was my girlfriend before we decided to settle down. There's something fundamental wrong with a marriage of convenience. Yeah? A marriage of convenience is not a marriage, strictly speaking. Or fake friendship is not really friendship. You can feign it, but it isn't friendship. Okay? The handshake was a fake. And if you recall, I can tell you, I can remember those dates vividly.
Yes.
The handshake was signed on the 9th of March 2018. on the 10th of March 2018, as a party leader and as a party, we called on Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga and we challenged them, told them, okay, fine. Forgiveness is okay. Reconciliation is okay. But tell us what you did wrong. Because even if today you go to a priest to confess your sins, you will have to tell the priest what you did wrong. Okay?
Yes.
So you cannot say, Father, forgive me for my sins.
But I'll tell you what.
The father will ask you, my son, what did you do? What did you do?
What are you accusing
So
yourself
we were
of?
never told what exactly went wrong before the handshake. Okay? Yeah? So it was a fake reconciliation. It was not based on honesty and truthfulness. And that's why it's crumbling today. And the truth for the matter is, you know, I know people are not courageous enough to say some of the things that we say here at the tackle, because at the tackle we believe we have to be very bold.
Yes.
The Kenyatta is the era of the Kenyatta is coming to an end. So the question is, who else out there we can relate to who can help us further or protect our interests politically? It can only be a desperado who for many years have tried to be president of Kenya 5 times because they can relate, they can speak the same language. And that is only Raila Amolo Odinga. Which is why Kenyans were asking me yesterday, but Uhuru Kenyatta used to call this guy Muganga, Mchawi, Kemodogeke, Kemodomogoroki, you know, all those things. Yeah? And then on the other hand,
Overnight.
Raila was calling Uhuru Mulevi, Navuta Bangi, Macho Nyekundu kama sijui nini. So what has happened? So I guess here what Kenyans need to learn is that I think even among thieves, there is honor.
There's honor among thieves.
There is honor among thieves.
They do say there is no honor, Daktari, so that means that even when they have that handshake, and even if Raila Odinga, we still haven't had the declaration from IEBC, so we never know how the turnout is going to be here at the tackle. We opt to be very, like we take what comes in. I do agree with you, and I do really respect your opinion that you feel Dr. William Ruto is leading. If he is leading, we will be here to report. But in the meantime, we do say there is really probably no honor amongst thieves. What if now, after Raila takes the helm, he does not honor what it is that he agreed with Uhuru? Because look at it this way, when Uhuru was with Ruto, they agreed on something and Uhuru did not honor. So what guarantees does the Uhuru and his entire side, when I say Uhuru, I do not mean him, the individual, because presidents are not individuals. There's a whole lot of undercurrent that we cannot be able to see with our naked eye as lay persons. So there's a lot happening in the background, isn't it? So I think also I would want to know probably from you two gentlemen that what do you think that what if things go haywire for both of them?
But let me say this. In the context of,
Yes, I am.
In the context of Kenyan politics, there is a redefinition of a thief, especially of a political thief. Okay? And in that redefinition of a political thief, that's where you find honor among thieves. And what they say, and they have said it. They have said it repeatedly.
Yeah.
There are no permanent enemies in politics.
Yes.
That is the honor they are speaking about. That when our interest is under threat, we can gang up together at the expense of our bases.
Yeah.
You know? Look, Raila's base in 2017 was throwing all manner of tantrums. Yeah. You remember the Machozi Monday?
Machozi Monday.
Machozi Monday.
Yeah.
Today, the same people actually singing praises for Uhuru. So, and that's why I'm telling you, there has been a redefinition of a thief when it comes to the Kenyan political context. So in Kenyan politics, the thieves have honor among themselves because it's about their interest. It's almost like the mafioso time. You know, when the mafia, for example, I remember, actually I'm watching now El Chapo, and
I love it. I watched
so you have these narcos meeting up and saying, okay, listen, fighting is not good for business. This is your territory, this is my territory. Can we just form a federation of sorts? And I think this is what we have been subjected to in the Kenyan politics. that these individuals actually form a federation for themselves to control the rest of us.
They call them the plazas in Colombia and Mexico.
Exactly. So for me, I still believe even Kenyan politics, they honor each other. Because for them, it's about them. It's not about the country. It's not about the electorate. You'll be used. I mean, my Modoniwas are now some of the most bitterest people. But I keep on reminding them. But in 2017, you are told, Thuraku, kumera, muka kumera. So why are you now bitter?
We transported somebody to Bondo. We are kumera. But I do agree with you, and also I wanted to ask, there's something you mentioned about a historical lie, and Gerald, I think we should talk about that, because everybody, all of us call Raila a revolutionist, and Daktari has raised a very pertinent issues that a lot of media houses have refused to cover. So here on the tackle, indeed,
This is
both credible and informed. So there's that issue of the historical lie. I think we should put that on a caption with capital letters and talk about it, because when we were children in the 80s, for us who are in our 40s and 50s, we were children, and even 30s, we were children in the 80s, and we grew up knowing that Raila Odinga is a revolution, is the Karl Marx, is the Che Guevara of this country. And we looked at him in awe, and here we are facing a historical lie. There's also another historical lie people have been talking about on social networks, how we were talking about our founding father, His Excellency Jomo Kenyatta, that he was a freedom fighter, and people have been talking about those historical lies. And I think here on the tackle, we do not have the fear, now that we have a Daktari, to talk about those historical lies as we wait for the results. We have got a very senior lawyer here. Those historical lies that we were told about founding fathers, about freedom fighters, and about freedom fighters of the second liberation. There was the first liberation against the Wabeberu. There was the second liberation. So democracy. You said it as just a sentence, and it moved my heart. We are debating about it a lot. Give us a little bit of details, because I know viewers, as they are waiting for the countdown, they want to hear about that historical lie.
You know, I think to be honest with you, I think Kenyan political leadership from independence has been a lie all along. Okay. The people who actually agitated for the independence of our country and who gave us a country, i.e., for example, the Mau Mau, people like Dedan Kimathi, Mekatalili Menza, and others, never lived to see an independent Kenya. But the people who never really fought, never sacrificed for this country, took over government. And what the Muzungu did is that they looked at who are our political and economic loyalists. And those are the people they handed over power to at independence. But if you really trace historically in terms of agitation for change, they never actually contributed to it. You know, then of course, and that's now the first liberation in this country. So come the Kenyattas. You know, I think the only person I can actually credit as standing out in terms of integrity, I would say Jaramogi Odinga. What is the other guys? They're part of the Kapenguria 6 guys, you know, Bildad Kagia and others. Chengoneko. Those guys stood ground and say, no, if Kenyatta is not released from prison, we are not going to form the next government. The Muzungu had actually handed over government to Jaramogi. Jaramogi said, no. Kenyatta being detained is a symbol of unity in our country. But when Kenyatta came in, the first thing they did, they started by displacing their own people in central Kenya. 1965. He took these people to Mpeketoni, to Molo, to parts of Nyandarua, Laikipia, place called, they started a company called Ngwataniro Land Buying Company. You know, they actually displaced their own. Ngwataniro, yeah.
There are lack of names.
Yes. No, Ngwataniro means coming together, so it makes sense.
Ngwataniro.
Yeah. Okay. But they displaced their own population, and they acquired huge tracts of land. So, you know, it was first a betrayal in terms of the fact that the agitation for the independence of Kenya started with the question of land. That the Modongu had come and taken away our land. And that's why the Kikuyu, the revolution started in central Kenya and it spread the rest of the country. But their own people, when they took over power, actually betrayed them. So that's a historical fact. When people say that we fought for the independence of this country, it's a lie. Now, let's go back to the second liberation in this country, the agitation for multi-party democracy. You had other people, many people. I mean, I mentioned names like people like Anyona, Koigo Mwere, Bildad Kagi, and many others. Charles Onyoke, all those Rubia, Njindo, Matiba, and many others. They fought for the multi-party. They faced Moi. But then you had people who were masquerading as agitators of democracy at that time, i.e., for example, Raila Amolo Odinga, who conveniently in 1997 went into bed with KANU. At the time when people believed that KANU was a repressive regime. Moi was a dictator, but he went into bed with KANU. Yes. Okay, and so for when the people claim that we are the ones who brought multi-party democracy in Kenya, why are we forgetting other people who actually lost lives? Lost lives, not just being detained, were killed by the regime. You are here pretending that you fought for multi-party democracy, but the truth for the matter is you never really. You are just looking after your own self-interest. Okay? Fast forward to the current situation. There is a lot of agitation against them, against us. You pit tribe against tribe. But when it's convenient for you, you go into a negotiation, you go into a handshake, and your people are just left there, bewildered. So the problem in Kenya, I think, is that we've lived a long lie in terms of leadership, in terms of the kind of country we want. And as I've said it before, be talking your show here, Kenyans are shy from brutal honesty. Let's look each other in the eye and say, I don't think you're honest with me. You are lying to me. Kenyans don't want to hear that. 2 days ago, I tweeted and I just said my prediction. It was my freedom of expression. But you can imagine the insult. You saw the insults I got from certain quarters of Kenyans. Just because I'm expressing myself. I didn't even mention anybody by name who I'm supporting. But I just said...
You just said something.
I just said something. And I got a lot of insults from Kenyans. Not all Kenyans, but Kenyans from a certain region who are supporting a candidate. And I think one of the lies we have lived as Kenyans is to believe that if one of our own becomes president, then we are all comfortable.
We are sorted.
It's a big lie. Because this person gets into the presidency. You see, for me, I see the presidency as a common good. If you're not going to do anything policy-wise that benefits the society,
the 50
million of us, then you're a bad president. If you're going to the presidency because your tribe is supporting your tribe is for you, and then you start looking at your tribe, you're a bad leader. You're not a leader. It's like me being a father in my own home. I have to treat all my children equitably or equally. I have to show them love, the same way, my sons or my daughter or whatever, So this thing of saying that you become president because you want to focus on a certain region, it's our time. You've seen that debate. It's our time. So what does it mean? I mean, how many times have we had one of our own become president, but our problems are still the same?
It becomes worse.
2013, 2017, Central Kenya were told, udhamaki ni wito, udhamaki ni shao. Yeah?
Oh, Lord.
Yeah?
You might be hurting a lot of people by saying that because it is
the truth.
Leaves a very bitter aftertaste in the mouth.
It is the truth. It is the truth. So after udhamaki, so what? Did your lives improve? 2019, 2020, we lost about 7 million small businesses in this country during COVID. You know what a majority of those businesses were? From the Kikuyu community.
Udhamaki.
From Udhamaki. Yeah? Yet they had Udhamaki in the State House. How come that Udhamaki did not bail them out?
I need to ask you this, Gerald. Do you think, and Daktari, do you think the fact that the mountain has completely, well, I will not say this as a political pundit, but I'll just say from what is happening, is it a protest also? Because I think this is an election of protests. The fact that what the mountain leader, in quotes, had said, and even the side that had probably the first woman running mate from the mountain, who's a person who was very loved by the mountain, that the mountain are looking like they're not leaning towards side. Could it be a protest, gentlemen? I don't know. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking it's an election of a lot of protests that people are refusing their pass on that, because we have been told that the mountain never supports anybody else except their own. There was that kind of narrative that has been going on around the country for a very long time, that these people will never support anyone unless there's their own.
You know, for me, the way I see it, I see it as a revelation. And people from the mountain are not stupid. I think there's a realization that, well, we have blindly supported our own for some time, but the truth for the matter is there is really no benefit that accrues to us. And it's a fallacy to say, let's support on our own, yet our lives don't improve. Our lives still the same. I mean, you go to, is it Katokera up by Kibera? You'll find all tribes in Kenya. They live side by side. So whether you support harmoniously, and they even borrow from each other. Leo sina chumvi, sina sukari, kesho, or somebody's running a shop. Today nimeenda kibarua. I have not made any headways. Can you please, just kopesha me so that my family can
Watu wakule.
watoto wakule. So that's the fallacy, and I think we need to deconstruct, dismantle these myths that our person must be in leadership. When those people are paid the FT salaries they are paid, they don't share it, they don't spread it. They don't call you guys and say, okay, now mlinipatia kiti, hebu tukae chini pamoja, sasa hii mshahara tutagawana namna gani? Never.
They don't even buy you drinks.
Of course not. Of course not. So that's the fallacy. And that's for me, I think, some degree of mediocrity we have in this country that we must call it out. Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I think this election is majorly about the country, of course, because when you look at the rebellion that's coming in, it's across the country. And if you want to tell that, you need to feel the energy across the country. In other times when citizens have always personalized elections so much, there seems to be little bother from the wananchi on the whole thing. But now talking about Central Kenya, I think it's two things. It's a rebellion, and also it's about rebranding the Central Kenya politics. For the longest time, and even that's what the message used to go, was like, hey, in 2013 wanasapota watu wa mlima ngojeni watawafanya. And even the other time again, because what people are saying, and actually Uhuru Kenyatta almost made that true after turning against William Ruto. It almost really retained that brand of politics that this was just going to be another session of use and dump. So I think for Central Kenya, it's about two things. It's about rebranding their politics, and two, also, it's about them being seen to keep their word.
I do agree with you on that, Gerald, because I saw a post by Alfred Keter. It was a 2012 post.
Yes,
you saw that?
Yes.
It really has...
I'm talking about Alfred Keter also go home.
Huyo ni wale wameanguka na kichwa.
So for Central Kenya, I think there are two things. Elections, and the most powerful of all, I think, is the state of the economy for the people of Central Kenya. Like Daktari has rightfully said, Central Kenya has almost served the brand of Jubilee government because it has been anti-business, anti-enterprise, anti-small-scale trade, anti-everything. I saw a letter the other day by Sportspacer, and the guys were accusing the Kenyatta family of forcefully taking over Sportspacer in terms of shares and all that. So I think there seems to be a feeling of, we are standing for ourselves in terms of what the economy means. They are at the worst level in terms of the economy, and President Uhuru Kenyatta doesn't seem to have a narrative for them.
Talking of Central Kenya, I want to look at it from a positive point of view. I think there's an awakening in Central Kenya. There's an awakening. And for me, if I were to advise the people of Central Kenya, I would tell them, you need to adopt the character of the Jewish people. For example, in America, the Jewish people are not necessarily interested in political leadership. They need leaders that can actually facilitate them to do business. And that's one of some of the richest people in the world, you know. So they ensure that there is a government that will facilitate for them an opportunity to be able to do business. I see the central Kenya people, especially the Kikuyu community, as like the Jewish of Kenya. Today, if you go to my village in Kapedo, in Lokichar, Turkana, you'll find Kikuyu people doing business. So bad politics is not good for them, especially bad politics that is being engineered from central Kenya, because the majority of them need other counties to be able. I mean, Kikuyus are entrepreneurial. Central Kenya is very entrepreneurial, and they need to venture into other regions of Kenya. But when you have bad politics coming from central Kenya, pitting them as if they are actually the victims of the rest of Kenya, that's bad for them business-wise, because the people who are using that narrative are actually benefiting themselves, not the majority of central Kenya people. And that's why we are talking about the figure of 7 million businesses that collapsed because of the COVID-19. A majority of them are businesses from central Kenya.
Yes. I
I have represented Uber drivers and partners. In 2017, I remember we were even summoned in Parliament. That time, Commander was actually the chairman of the Transport Committee. And I remember asking Commander, why is our government not supporting our Uber drivers and partners? Because these people who are actually imposing this pricing are getting their percentage, and it's sent right direct to Silicon Valley in California in the USA. But our people are left with the wear and tear of the vehicle, repair, all those kind of things. He told me something. He told me, Ekuru, the people who are promoting this Uber in Kenya are actually high up there. So, but I told him, but majority of these people are actually your own people. So why are you not helping your own people, make a living, make it better economically? So at the end of the day, it is about those individuals using the masses to advance their own personal interest. They never have the interest of the masses at heart. Okay? An ordinary Kenyan, let me tell you, whether you are Kikuyu, Kalenjin, Turkana, Luo, whatever, if you don't wake up in the morning to make a living, your children will sleep hungry.
Njani
You will
ile ile.
sleep hungry. Njani ile ile. Haichagui kama unatoka kabila gani. Unaona? So I think there's been a big political lie in the way in which we organize our public affairs, especially in terms of the top leadership. And I can understand why people are agitated about the top leadership in this country, the presidency, because there is a legitimate expectation that from the top leadership, you can actually steer a country to a level of prosperity. That isn't happening in Kenya today. The top leaders are actually looking unto themselves. It's about them. It's about them, their cronies, their families, and the rest. So long as they are comfortable. Because yesterday, let me give you a very interesting example. So I was having a conversation yesterday in a place called Marigat on my way to vote in Kapedo. And people were telling me, but Ekuru, sasa, hii unga ya 100, mbona tuoni kwa supermarkets?
Na serikali imetangaza, imesema
Imetangaza. Not even serikali. President Uhuru himself, the commander-in-chief of the country, has actually said that unga should be sold at 100. People are saying, but we can't see this unga. One guy said, no, why do you guys believe that guy? If he truly meant to help Kenyans, sianze could reduce Brookside products.
Okay, that's a point.
Yes.
Which he owns.
Aanze kupunguza Brookside products. Rates at the hotel industry. Favorable interests at their banking sector. Hapo ndio tutajua he is serious. Why is he talking about unga, which is the business of other people? What about the businesses that he does, which is really affecting us every day? Maziwa, for example, Maziwa.
Even Fuliza rates.
Even Fuliza rate, exactly. So people are saying, let him demonstrate that of the business that his country actually controls, he now reduces those rates, then we will believe him. Because people are saying, after Unga 100, we don't see it.
That's interesting.
So
I had not thought about it from that perspective,
Absolutely.
by the way.
This was a Kenyan talking to me in Marigat yesterday on my way to go and vote in Kapedo. Telling me, jamani mwongo. Why should Kenyans even take him seriously? And then they were saying, even this guy that is shoving down our throats, yeah, He's not a serious fellow. It is him.
Yeah.
And Gerald, now that Daktari has mentioned what Raya has said, I think we should scroll a bit and see what people are saying, because people
What
are
are you saying? My laptop today is misbehaving.
people are saying a lot. There is Karimi. Is saying Palemeru crocodile has died politically. Goodbye, Kiraito. You made the worst mistake ever in your political career. That is the opinion of Karimi. Remember, what we are reading is not the opinion of the tackle. It is just what people are saying. Shiko Mureithi is saying, Sasa kame. No, we do not want to mention media houses. Sasa wanaskiaje all the candidates they used to sell day and night have fallen thunderously. When we say here they plant coached people in those outdoor broadcasts they used to do, we were told to shut up or open our own radio station. It's time, it's their turn to shut up. Every time they went to Kiambu almost weekly, every other speaker, they would say Nyoro tano fresh. Sasa Nyoro ananyororokia mpaka nyumbani where he's waiting for the next nomination. That is the opinion of Shiko Mureithi. And there is a lot of opinions. Tess Njeri Kabungu is saying, Sasa simlituambia tushikane hapa mlimani to vote as a block. Munakasirika kwa nini tukivote as a block? That is in response to what had been said, that the mountain always votes as a block. So the mountain did vote as a block, but probably it is Uhuru himself who said the mountain votes as a block, but maybe it did not vote for whoever was expected they will vote for. We are not declaring any results. We are just reading people's opinions. And there is something that also Gerald said yesterday about a gentleman, Yule Wasina Maoni. We are seeing somebody else who is going to be making their social media debut in comedy with the Sina Maoni kind of things. And we have seen there has been a report by one of the major media houses that Nixon Korir has conceded defeat in the Langata constituency race. We are not, we are yet to get that information from our sources. The Star Kenya 2 minutes ago has reported that. We are going to get that for you from our credible sources. Just stay put. Here on the tackle, we get information. So even when you see whatever is going on online, stop panicking, because I can see a lot of people tagging me on that and they're telling me, what is this? So what is this? No. Things will come out. We are here with one of the greatest lawyers this country have, Dr. Ekuru Aukot, and with one of the journalists who is not biased, one of my favorite journalists, Gerald Bitok, somebody who will give you things the way they are. Mulikuwa mnasema Gerald ni wa Azimio. Sasa mnajua si wa Azimio. It is just reporting what is happening. See it Azimio maybe.
Wamelikalia sana vibaya.
Aki wamekukalia na onanga na cheka too. So Dr. Miguna is saying a lot I will not read because I might end up getting arrested. Gerald, I don't know what you're saying there. Can you read some of the things that are happening on your end?
I think please help me read, because my laptop. Please get me the comments on the screen. Look at
we can
proceed. You can proceed.
And Fabish Njuguna Joseph says, if anyone ever tells you again that there is deep state in Kenya or some powerful individuals locked up somewhere and all they do is hand over power to the people who are favorable to them, tell them umejua ukweli. Deep state ni kura za watu wa Mount Kenya ama ni kura za watu wa Kenya. And then somebody has posted a photo, Mureithi Walusi, my very good friend and a fan of the taco, Mureithi Walusi, out there in Mombasa doing his thing. Mureithi, I recognize you, my brother. You tagged me somewhere in the middle of the night. So he's posted a photo of Dr. William Ruto with His Excellency the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and His Excellency former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. They were somewhere in the Bomas, and William Ruto was facing forward with a very a firm face, and President Uhuru and former Prime Minister were looking at him. I think you all have that image in your minds of that photo. That photo really did do the rounds. And then Mureithi is saying, who remembers this at Bomas? There is a God in heaven. Freedom is here, is coming home. That is not the opinion of the tackle. It is the opinion of Mureithi Walusi. And Murugi Njeru is saying they humiliated him, lakini wacha Mungu aitwe Mungu. We moved quickly to Dennis Itumbi. 27 minutes ago, he posted, we are preparing for an online live address. The final results, freedom. That is Dennis Itumbi. He posted that. Imbokotol, Mwami, how are you? he is asking, how is Millicent Omanga doing? I really want her to win. I will not say anything about that. Daktari, I can see you've reacted. You will tell us something. Tony Maina Karari has posted a photo of a lion sleeping flat. Bitoka, have you seen that? Ati Simba Wanyeri aka Ngunjiri Wambugu ameanguka Pungulu. I think we should get that guy who sang the song Pungulu Pangala to play for Akina Alfred Ketera and all those people who we are going to be giving counseling. I think Bitoki should start counseling services here on the taco for all our friends who are vying, because we have a lot of our friends who are vying. Sure. Some of them did not succeed. We will talk nicely to Daktari here and probably Dr. Frank Njenga also. We are going to be doing post-election violence. Do you
Tell them if they have any petition issues. I'm happy to take up those.
For our viewers,
and make some money.
Yes. Tackle followers. We have a lawyer in the house, so be sure that
we've been safe. Since this time, these guys, they was trying to shoot us down some years back, but then they saw the people we were having here, and they decided, not today.
Not today.
And also, I still want to insist that if you won an election during this time, understand that you've won it for every other person who is in the jurisdiction. If you've won your election as an MP, know that you've won it for all the people in that constituency, and you owe them services regardless of their political leanings. No, this election, just like any other competition, must have two sides, and both cannot win. So for those who have won, understand that you've won it for the people that you represent, and you need to represent every other person equally. Looking at the comments, Korir Kibasama anatafuta yunga ya mia hapa Mweben, any direction. Hata mimi nilikuwa Mweben si kuona shaga mahindi baba. Shaga yako mahindi. But Digunda, Baba's bedroom has been invaded by the Asla Nation, Ruta Stronghold Central and Rift Valley have stronghold Baba, well, Baba strongholds Western Coast and Ma Nation have pitied Ruta. Okay. Please take it up for me. Bazenga, because Bazenga, jamana jida mpaka jinako bana. Sema Linda Kura. Asante za Dixon Sambai. We just keeping our attention to Linda Kura. Asante sana. Watu wa diaspora, thank you so. Good morning, my fellow citizens back at home. Diaspora is watching. Asante sana. Diaspora, you can also join us as well. We'll create a link for you so that you can join in, and also you can always call in 0779-800-010. Okay, Pauline Cherub, good job. Good morning to you, Pauline. I hope to see you. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. Bonnie, Kevin Maro, Nakwana, Paul Kipego, good morning. Good morning to you. Good morning. So Shago, so we'll get good morning to you. The one what was South Korea. Kito Kelvin, good morning to you. Kito Minayo Mwanisa, wenye wanaimba waache. Nani alikuwa anaimba? Jamani.
Kulikuwa na kwaya IBC jana jioni.
Kwaya wa IBC.
You saw that, Daktari?
No. Okay. I think we'll be posting in the results that we are getting from the tallying that are going on. So we'll be able to get in the results pole mdogo tukiona what's going on, as we're also trying to analyze. Those guys who are saying Nani has lost it, Nixon Korir. No, I doubt it.
Yes, I have seen some reports from some media houses, from Tuko, from The Star, that Nixon Korir has conceded defeat, but we are yet to confirm that from his people who we are in touch with. We are waiting for that. To Jalango.
But I thought there's also a report saying that Jalango is now going back to YouTube.
I saw that very early in the morning. That is why I am telling our viewers to be very wary. If indeed it is Jalango, it is going to be Jalango. We don't have a problem with that, whoever it is. But there's a lot of stuff that has been going on online all night long. I've been seeing reports, and every time people see something funny, they will tag me on that. Like on The Star, I hadn't seen it. Somebody tagged me on it, and it's like, is this the case? Then I'm like, no, we are in touch with Nixon's people. They will let us know what is happening. I mean, most of these people, they will always send us messages. They will always send messages to Gerald on the tackle, and they're like, mimi ni mtua Jalango na ameshinda, and this is the form 34. Something like when Gerald is reporting, or when I am talking about it, or even you with your people, when you're talking about it, you know for a fact this has happened. So we ask the people to just calm down. I mean, hakuna hayo.
We wait for IBC to make the final.
And even by that time, tutakuwa tumeongea about it hapa tu tumeona vitu.
But speaking of that, I thought IBC had given a direction that we are now going to use only Form 34As. So I saw, on my way here, I saw on social media an introduction of 34B, and I thought IBC had said they're not going to use any 34Bs because that's where the Ukarabati in Anzaga. So what has changed? What is the correct position? Is it 34As? Or are we going back to 34Bs?
I think, Gerald, that you'll have to confirm with whoever it is that we are dealing with, IBC to see patia watu, because whatever IBC declares on a press conference, we expect that to be the gospel truth. So when there is now other stuff that is coming, na ndio niliwaambia jana, throughout the day yesterday, I was telling you viewers, let us be very wary of social media, even something that has been posted from somewhere you believe is credible, unless IBC, unajua wakisema kitu lazima watapost kwa Twitter yao verified, but before post kwa Twitter yao verified, they will send a circular to all of us and tell us we have decided we are using Form 34Bs or we have decided ABCD. So even if I come here and on my social media account I post as MSOO and I do not have backing evidence, please, Kenyans, the 50 million is over. Let us not give ourselves the headache. Because that's what put us in trouble in 2007, Daktari, if you remember. Because everybody was saying what they want to say, and they were saying, Kivutu amesema hivi. And then that time, social media was not even there. So we didn't even have. So everybody was tense. Everybody is believing this and that and the other. What we preached the entire day yesterday, calm down. If anything is going to be put out there, hata kama kuna ule mtu anasema kuna insider information, at the end of the day, there is going to be that verified account for IEBC that is going to post whatever it is. Wacha tuseme tu, we are speculating and we are projecting. You remember during Hillary Clinton's election, and CNN had their projection, and Sky News had their projections, and Fox, who are said to be pro-Trump, they had their projections, and everybody were posting their projection, and they would say, no, these are not the declared results, these are just projections. So we ask Kenyans, let us just assume that those are personal opinions, tusiweke hiyo mambo kwa roho sana. We wait for the official and declared.
But you know what I would have also expected, so that you manage this excitement. IEBC said that they're only going to use 34 from 34A.
That's what they have.
So why then isn't the chairman of IEBC announcing those from 34As? Because we want him to be the authority.
Yes.
Yeah. We want him to be the referee, so that we avoid all this speculation and personalized opinion. So if he said that 34As will be the final, he should be ready to say at every minute, announce polling station A that from 34A so and so has won, so and so. I mean, that way I think we will be more comfortable than now leaving it to speculation.
Gerald?
Yeah.
First, Nixon is gone. Nixon is actually gone. So he has already considered, he said to the people of Langata, and sincerely thank you for according me an opportunity to be your member of parliament for the last 5 years. It's been a great opportunity that gave me an avenue to contribute to our nation building and service to the Langata people. From the results that we have tallied at the Generali Center, my competitor Jalango has a lead, and I want to congratulate him as he prepares to take the mantle and move Langata forward. Siasa, sio chuki.
So he's considered just from his own handle.
Yes.
He's verified. He responded.
And I've also confirmed that it's true.
From his handle?
His handle, and yes, I've also gotten a confirmation from his team.
Okay, so as we wait for his
That's
team,
magnanimity.
there's something that Daktari has asked about Form 34As. Can we be able to verify that? Because we
have the Form 34As are coming in, and that is actually the basis of the presidential election. That is the backbone of the presidential elections, and they are coming in. I think they should be passed. In the morning, they were saying, IBC was saying they uploaded almost 90%, but I think that was not right. They should be adding to almost 80%.
Yes.
That is what we are having. But now, what the IBC is not doing this time around. You remember during the past elections, they were doing their own tallying. You could see the percentages. This one has this. The only thing they're doing, they're uploading the forms. So what the parties are doing is they're going to download those forms, then they tabulate on their own. And William Ruto's secretariat has been running a tallying center as well, that have been picking the forms and entering the system. I think they have passed the 50% mark of uploading those results. And the results looks like... how are they looking like? Okay.
In the meantime, as we wait for Gerald to tell us what he's seeing, can we be able to confirm
Citizen has moved up you remember since last night at 10 p.m. Citizen was not updating their data on the screens. If they're adding almost equal numbers. So the recent numbers that are coming in from Citizen is William Ruto is at 50.19, while Raila Odinga is at 48.39. That is a vote of 1.57 against 1.52 by Raila Odinga. But looking at the numbers that are coming in as well from from the Asla Tallying Center is stating that William Ruto is at 52% at 3.7 million, and Raila Odinga is at 47% at 3.3 million. That is from the tallying that they've done on the Form 34S from IEBC, and they're saying they are past the halfway mark. So it looks like actually by this afternoon we should be having almost all the forms. And
considering it's 11, so we are probably looking at around 4 p.m. if we are to be realistic about the IEBC timelines. But in the meantime, we will just ask people to be patient, that we are going to be giving them what we are having. And there's a quick one I've seen here about Ronald Karauri. Apparently, he has clinched the Kasarani according to the Form 34s that are online.
Kasarani?
Yes.
On an independent ticket?
Yes, that is Ronald Karauri. Yes, he has taken. Sometimes social media will give you information, then you will have, when you confirm now with the people who are the insiders of that person that has been mentioned on social media, then you do realize that indeed that is happening. Then I saw something that Ndindi Nyoro had posted. Ndindi Nyoro is one gentleman who, his political side notwithstanding, I do not take him the fact that he's from a particular side, but he has proven over time that he is a young man who does not bluff much. He does not speak much. And there is something he posted about how the county that where he comes from, that is Muranga, is all yellow. That means that the 7 MP seats and the governorship and the senatorship has gone to the UDA candidates. So that was Ndindi Nyoro. It was earlier on. I saw it in the morning when I was coming. I did talk to his PA and they told me that they have those results at hand. The good thing is that some of these people, that by the time they post something, they do have credible information from the IEBC. That is why I have the courage to talk about it, because I would not want us to mislead people. And people were asking also about these candidates who had stepped down, but they also appeared on the ballot paper, like Charity Kaluki Ngilu. Before we talk about Charity Ngilu, let us
You mean she's still in the ballot?
She was in the ballot. People have been talking about it a lot, especially my friends from Kitui. My contacts I have in Kitui, they were saying they did see Charity in the ballot. And I think, Gerald, maybe we will have Dr. talk about that from a legal perspective about ballot printing and what happens that sometimes somebody step down and they still appear. But before that, Ndindi Nyoro also posted 20 minutes ago that Kiambu County is UDA. Remember, when we read something from somebody's Twitter or social media page, it is their opinion, not ours. We are just communicating what their people have sent us on our WhatsApp. Kiambu County is UDA. All tallied constituency is UDA. All county seats is UDA. Kikuyu MP UDA. Lari MP UDA. Kabete, Limuru, Kiambagi, Dhunguri, Kiambu, and Ruiru. And we did see earlier on Moses Kiari Kuria, who was vying for governorship with his party, the Chama Chakazi CCK party. Moses Kuria has been allied to the Kenya Kwanza side, and he did concede defeat. So indeed, now we saw from him, when we saw him concede, we knew that Kimani Wamatangi had taken that seat, and he was vying on the UDA side. So maybe Gerald, Daktari, you and Daktari can talk a bit about that issue of people appearing on the ballot when they have already stepped down a while ago, the timelines of printing the ballot, and also is the elections echo 23rd August, the ones for Kakamega and Mombasa as a gubernatorial, because the IBC announced yesterday that is November 23rd.
No, so I think for me, there is a problem there, the way I see it. If, for example, Charity Ngilu never presented her papers before the returning officer for Kitui. So even though she had expressed her interest, because if I do recall, Charity Ngilu had actually even categorically said that she's not going to defend as a gubernatorial seat in Kitui. She said that right from the outset. So how then did her name find itself in the ballot? Secondly, she ought to have presented her papers before the returning officer for Kitui. So I don't remember seeing Ngilu presenting her papers. This is a sitting governor. For all intents and purposes, we should have seen at least coverage of her presenting her papers. So how then did she find herself? And I think for me, this speaks to the blunder that IBC has already confessed to about Kakamega Mombasa, and I think the other constituencies.
Yeah, the Rongai constituency.
Rongai, yes, and all that. So I think this is a mistake from IEBC. The fact that Ngilu is a sitting governor, she never expressed interest to defend her seat. So this is a problem with IEBC, in my view. Yeah.
So what are the timelines? Like once the IBC has been presented with papers, how soon thereafter constitution? Is there a legal framework towards when they print those papers?
So,
and if somebody wants to withdraw, even if they've presented their papers, what are the timelines?
There is the IBC schedule. For example, all of us had to submit our nomination certificates by due date. I remember, for example, for presidential candidates, 25th of May is when we were supposed to have submitted our supporter list and nomination certificates. That's how IBC put us in the schedule to appear before IBC, the National Returning Officer at Bomas. Okay, so between that period, you could still withdraw. Or you have not submitted, because I don't remember Ngilu actually submitting her papers. It's just like all the other 47 presidential candidates. Not all of them submitted their papers to. They all presented, documents to IBC on the 25th of May, but they only shortlisted 16 of us. And 16 of us were supposed to appear before IBC at Bomas between 28th and I think the 6th. If I'm not wrong, the 6th of May, 28th of May, and the 6th of June. So any candidate that really did not present themselves before IBC had no business being in the ballot paper. That must just be a problem or a mistake with IEBC.
Okay, so I want to ask Joshua Kilonzo, my point person in Kitui. Joshua, I know you're watching me. I want to ask you to probably confirm that before we dismiss it as a rumor, because, really it might not have impact on election, but it will have impact on the credibility of IBC. And some of these things, Daktari, legally they might end up being used to nullify an election for petitions. So Joshua Kilonzo, I want to ask you kindly, if there is concrete evidence, let it not just be a rumor, because I've seen a lot of Kitui people have, even the guys for Boni Musambi, because Boni Musambi, the former KBC journalist, was vying, and he was vying on a UDA ticket. So his people have been a bit in touch with them, and they were saying, yes, indeed, she was on the ballot. But for purposes of us informers, hawajaniambia bado, tunataka sana kuona vile UDA itaperform.
Look for Musime.
Yeah, so for those how they are performing. Yeah, MP Musimi can also tell us about Charity Ngilu. Maybe you can.
But Charity came out into the open and said that she's not defending her gubernatorial seat.
That's why I was concerned when I saw people are saying Charity.
So why would she be put in the ballot?
And then also there was the issue of people posting the ballot yesterday. I was really discouraging people from posting the ballot paper yesterday, but right now I would want to see that ballot paper to see whether it is just people who are getting agitated, and because we would not want people to be spreading news that are not.
Speaking of that, this is a debate I was having with my friends yesterday. What's illegal? Is there an illegality about that?
Apparently, it's in the Elections Act that you're not. It's a secret ballot, so you're not supposed to show your ballot.
Secret ballot does not extinguish your freedom of expression, which is a fundamental human rights under Chapter 4 of our Constitution. The fact that I say I support so-and-so, there is no difference with the fact that I say I support you, and when I cast my ballot, I still tell the world who I supported. I see nothing wrong with that. Constitutionally, in terms of human rights, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Apparently,
there's no criminal offense. It's not
It amounts to campaigning after the period.
No, you see, it's about the people. No, I don't think so.
That's what
But you're not campaigning, you are a voter.
When you post ati nimevotia huyu, you will influence. Yeah. Ati ni kama una campaign chini ya maji.
I don't know. That's another.
It's a legal gray area.
No, it's an interpretation, but it's an expression of a freedom. It's my freedom of expression. And honestly, I do not see anything fundamentally wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. The fact that I say, because how many people have declared support for candidates? So what is the difference with publicly declaring support for a candidate and when you actually cast your ballot, you actually confirm, I voted for so-and-so?
So fundamentally...
For me, I think the closest it comes to is the Electoral Code of Conduct. But the Electoral Code of Conduct is signed by people participating in elective positions. Okay? And that also means they must conduct themselves in a certain way. But it does not take away their freedom of expression, saying, I have voted for Bitok, and this is how I've ticked my ballot. Honestly,
so do you think there's a point where I can post, but you as Dr. Ekuru Aukot, presidential candidate, cannot post? Do you think that candidates are subjected to a different
the
set of
Electoral
laws?
Code of Conduct is about how you behave and conduct your election. No violence and all those kind of things. But it doesn't say I cannot express myself. You know? You know, you can express yourself, but also only to an extent where you don't incite violence. That's part of the Electoral Code of Conduct. But to say who I have voted and even display my ballot, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There's nothing illegal about it. It's as good as me standing in a political rally and saying, I am supporting so-and-so.
Well, looking at it, Gerald, looking at it from that perspective, we people in the media have been holding our breath. Like, you really don't even want somebody to tag you on something like that because you do not want to be flagged as a media house the next day because of posting something like that. We are really walking on eggshells in Kenya, and I'll say this as just a random Kenyan voter, because of what we have experienced previously, that people are easily, especially when a country is polarized. I wanted to say right now we are polarized, but because of our experience in the past, we are always worried that little things we do might make things go on overdrive. That's what even my friends were telling me on a WhatsApp group. The way they are letting those results trickle in very slow, that is what led to the tension in 2007. And I think the government should, ante up, not really the government, but the IEBC should ante up and make sure that the results come in a timely manner, because when you delay, people start getting tense, people start getting agitated. And I am sure right now that we have been told schools are not resuming tomorrow, people are thinking, oh my goodness, we are not getting those results in the next 1 century, and everybody's heart rate is going slightly up. I don't know, maybe Gerald, you can talk to people and tell them to calm down.
I think to that point, maybe a lesson for Kenyans: election is not everything. It should not be a matter of life and death. You see, there's a comparison that has been done about our Kenyan election and other countries. Ours is one of the most expensive elections in the world.
Yes.
Somebody compared our election with that of India. India has a population of 1.3 billion people. We are only 50 million. Okay? But our election costs upwards of about 270 Kenya shillings per person. In India, it's about 62 Kenya shillings. Okay? And in other countries, they don't declare the day of election a public holiday. You go, vote, go to work.
Back to work.
And do your thing. You can even vote electronically. Issues now have risen about why is it that I can trust M-Pesa transactions? I can send you 300,000 Kenyan shillings from M-Pesa. But I vote every 5 years. I'm so agitated. Like, for me, I have to travel like 12 hours yesterday, 6 hours back, 6 hours going, 6 hours back from Nairobi to Kapedo, to and fro, just to cast a ballot. Why couldn't I do that from the comfort of my phone, since I have, a smartphone?
And since indeed we have registered all our smartphones that you are identified biometrically, you cannot be able to cast your ballot twice. I think that is food for thought, Gerald, because we saw even in the US elections, people voted via mail, and I think all of us Kenyans were like, oh, they are voting via mail, kitaibiwa, because I think we also need to cut Kenyans some slack. We are traumatized there.
And there's something here that has been shared, Ekuru. Mesema nikuambie, Bitok tell Mr. Ekuru that Gill was cleared by ABC on June 6th.
Is it? Okay.
Oh, that's why she appeared on the ballot.
I guess so.
That's the explanation.
So she was telling us she was telling the public rather, she was not vying, but deep down she probably was considering it.
But she was not campaigning.
Okay. Well, like they say,
I think she's waiting for a ministerial appointment.
I think that is what they declared. That one they declared in somewhere in a public rally. I think it was somewhere in Western Kenya that she's stepping back because she will be working for the national government of the Azimio. I think that they did in public. That one was not covert. It was there for us all to see.
But this also tells you another story about the kind of leadership we have in Kenya. Why then do you offer yourself as a governor and you don't even campaign for it?
The contempt.
It's an abuse of the electoral process. Either you go the whole way or you don't.
Okay, well, I do agree with you because I remember even people were complaining that Moses Kuria was not campaigning. He was very focused on the presidential election more than he was focused on his own gubernatorial.
But at least he accepted he lost.
And I think that's also what
But
people
that's the point she's making.
Yeah.
He wasn't serious.
He wasn't
about it,
because if you know the capability of MK as a campaign machine,
It's a mobilizer.
he is. It does not matter what side of the political divide I come in. I have my friends in Azimio, and they were like, I remember that time when he was in Dubai and he was away, he was unwell, and my friends in Azimio would tell me, Kuria ni wetu. I'll be like, for me, whichever side he goes, I'll be here to report. For me, it's neither here nor there. But they were really, like, there was that vibe that was going around that Azimio were really hunting Moses Kuria. He's not being hunted because he's your random guy. No, it is because everybody who knows MK, from those days of Moses Muhia, if you remember that time when Muhia vied against Uhuru and the fake kidnapping, you remember that, Daktari? Moses Kuria is a mobilizer even when he was a very young man. And he is known to, when he's focused on something, when he goes for something, he goes for it. I think when he came back from his illness and he declared his support for Dr. William Ruto, a lot of people who were in this other side of Azimio who were hoping that he'll go on their side, they were really disappointed. Some of them even expressed it openly that they were looking at him as he's a mobilizer. So yeah, what you were saying about how Ngilu was about her campaign also on this other side of the Kenya Kwanza, a lot of people had raised issues about MK. There is something here I want to read from Mureithi Walusi. This is one guy who is always following us online, and it's a long post. I'll read it in summary. He's saying, for the past 5 years, I've been shouting about the compromised media. I've been saying about the damage that has been done in destroying the media and the state capture of the media. At 8:22 a.m., IEBC had availed fully signed Form 34As from 43,255 polling stations. That is what was on the IEBC website, according to Mureithi Walusi. Then he is saying, look at what some televisions, I'm not going to name names, were reporting at 8:34. Instead of telling you the truth, they were just selecting 4,600 polling stations out of the 43,000 and showing one candidate leading at 49% against the other. Do you see how they're trying to manipulate our perception? They are showing off the state-of-art tallying center, but they are not giving updated polling results. So the KK team apparently has the figures from IEBC of 43,000 polling stations, and also the Azimio side.
It's not
46.
Right
now it's 46. This he had posted like 12 minutes ago. So if now it is 46, both sides, the KK, apparently the KK and Azimio said they both have that feed, and our media houses, apparently we are being asked why we are not posting what has already been transmitted by IEBC. And he is asking that we need to be able to be transparent media houses, that whatever IEBC, because it is the mandated body, if they have declared something on websites which is accessible to somebody who's
referee,
why don't we just give it? Yeah, what do you say, Gerald?
And that's what actually posting. According to the tallying, independent tallying, we have already done how many polling stations? 23,000. Polling station 172 out of 46,000. The total number of polling centers, polling stations are 46,203. I've already done 23,172. And the results are as follows. William Ruto is leading at 52%. That is 3.702. And Raila Odinga is following at 47% at 3.377. That's a 3.8 million. Wajakoya is there with 29,000. Wajakoya tanako anatuwaka banki kidogo. 29,000 and David Mora Waiga is at 14,865. That's how the results are looking like from the presidential campaign. But now, looking at the polling stations that are coming according to IEBC website, I wish we could have someone who can try and do some tallying for us there. IEBC claims they have already done that 95.9% of Form 34A. That is a polling station.
That is 44,346 out of 46,229. That's exactly what Mureithi is saying, that IBC has posted on its website that is visible to any human being on the planet and even beyond, outside. Even people in Pluto can be able to view the IEBC website and see that the Form 34As that have been reported. And remember, we were told that whatever happens at the polling station, that is final. We cannot be able to adjust, amend, or even alter or interfere with anything that has been declared at the polling station. And we are looking at 95.93 of results that have been transmitted. And a lot of Kenyans are wondering why.
Maybe we can look at the counties. Maybe we can look at the counties. I don't know if you can give us a breakdown of the presidential vote within the counties.
That would help a lot.
Like a presidential breakdown. I don't know. We can. Are they busy giving us any breakdown? Okay, I think they are.
So when they say, for example, Kirinyaga, let's say Kirinyaga, 689 of 699. What are those?
That's the polling stations.
Polling station.
Yes.
They have 699 polling stations.
Yes.
Damn.
Yeah, they do.
Some stations have 1,000. Some counties have 1,000. Kisumu. 1157 of 1170.
Do not forget, they had also reported that a station is not supposed to have more than 700 people. That's why some places have a lot of polling stations, because the population is very high. And that was in the information that was given by IEBC on Sunday during the simulation, because people raised that issue, why some places have more polling stations than others. It's the numbers. Yeah, it is the numbers. So Kirinyaga has got a lot of people. We are looking at probably 700 to 800,000 voters there. So of course,
Nairobi has 3,649.
yes, it does. It has a whole lot of those.
Right. Let's listen to Musieme. He tells us about Kitui. Musieme, good morning. Good morning. You are live. You are live on broadcast, Musieme.
I'm live.
Yes. You are live on broadcast. Hey, mambo vipi? So I wanted to ask you the issues of Kitui County. I understand that Charity Gill had pulled out of the race, and somehow, some way, she has found herself back on the ballot, and she seems to be on the ballot. What happened?
Gill realized too late
Hey.
that she could not stop the people of she had stolen. She had stolen too much from the people of Kitui. And the people of Kitui got tired of stealing.
Okay.
So she decided to support one of the candidates who is also doing very badly, the former senator, who is 83 years old.
Okay.
And but they are both losing. But one of the things that you note about Kitui and the entire Ukambani is that the voter turnout is below 50%.
Below 50%.
Below 50%.
Okay.
Because when you look at the results in Mwingi North, you look at the results where when you look at the results in Kitui, you find that in a tallying center of 700, they are getting, the leading candidate is getting 123, and another one is getting 100. So less than 250 people are voting out of 600.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can call the election for Malombe. Malombe is going to win. Malombe of Wiper.
Malombe of Wiper. I understand that. How many candidates were there?
How many?
How many candidates were there?
There were 4 candidates.
Because I also understand UDA had a candidate, right? Jonathan Mweke.
Mweke of UDA. Malombe of Wiper, and Musila of Jubilee, and Gilu, who we withdrew from the election. Musila is doing very well in Kitui side, in the Mwingi side of Kitui. And Malombe is doing generally well. Even in the Mwingi side, is doing fairly well. But the people who are nostalgic about the view project that Malombe had initiated, that's why they want to return him, because in Ngilu's time, nothing much was done except the looting of resources.
Okay.
Yes.
Haya, asante sana ndugu. Thank you so much. Please keep us updated. Use anything that you want to. Okay, I'm saying also more. Good morning to you, Susan. Haya. Haya, wewe ndio uchaguzi ipo. Okay.
So MP Musimi has confirmed that
Charity
was on the ballot.
Amesema ataanguka.
There's something he has mentioned about different sides where how the performance is going on in Kitui, but there is generally a bit of reluctance when it comes to voting in the Lower Eastern. The IEBC had reported yesterday by 4 p.m. that it was 38% in Lower Eastern. We saw those results and we also transmitted them here. So 38% in Lower Eastern by 4 p.m. yesterday. Even if it increased slightly. So I do agree with Musimi that indeed the turnout in Lower Eastern was wanting.
Yeah. Same under 50%. Man, that's crazy.
It was 38% at 4 p.m. yesterday as per the IEBC, which is very, very, very worrying. And it has been attributed to the fact that the Lower Eastern region has been systemically used to having Dr. Kalonzo Musyoka as the running mate for Raila Amolo Odinga. And the fact that he was not picked, I think it gave a little bit of voter apathy. It's what... Dr. was talking about the way people who are not coming out to vote. It's either of two things. It's either voter apathy because you feel your candidate is not there. That Dr. Okot mentioned categorically, and I would want Kenyans to recognize that and the institutions to recognize that the minute a particular candidate is stopped from being there, whether by reasons of the party, because for Kalonzo's part, it was the party, it was the coalition that decided, or whether it is IEBC that indeed it really does affect the outcome of the election.
Yeah, and I think also just because our politics is so tribal, so regionalized. So if one of your own is not in the ballot, a lot of people see no point of actually participating in that election, and it's unfortunate because and this is the debate I was having with a couple of friends. I was telling them, yes, I even saw somebody who sent me a ballot where they wrote my name and ticked.
Yeah,
but you saw that?
Yes. So
I was telling them, but you are spoiling the ballot.
They decided to make their ballot papers.
But now that I would call it protest. Like
it is a protest. Yes, it is. But I think the bigger picture is that a lot of Kenyans were expecting a fair nomination process, which will ensure their candidates is there, whether they win or not, they want to vote for that candidate. But I think IBC was captured in a way, was forced to clear certain candidates, and that became a disenfranchising factor for many people who felt that, why should I go and vote? After all, I feel that the process was not fair. My preferred candidate was not on the ballot, so I might as well not vote. And probably this is why people...
I might as well had my own candidate.
Exactly.
But indeed,
I got 10 guys who actually sent me the ballot with my name on. I told them, but you're spoiling this ballot.
But it is very worrying, Gerald and Daktari, because I also saw people who were saying that nilikuwa mtu wa Wajakoya, then I realized Wajakoya is a project, and that I am saying not as the tackle, but as something that people have been posted. Yeah. No. Hiyo sio yangu. Hiyo ni nimesoma kutoka kwa watu. Sio ya Tackle na sio ya Msoo. But a lot of people were saying vile Wajakoya ameturn out wamedisagree na Justina Wamai about which candidate they are supporting. Na already pia yeye ako kwa ballot. Then tena wanasema huyu anasupport huyu anasupport huyu. At the end of the day tena tunaona vile watu wanasema kuhusu hiyo nomination process ilikuwa na issue that Wajakoya alikuwa anaongea kuhusu something that even Matiang'i himself said is illegal and people should stop making jokes about it. He was talking about marijuana. In Kenya, marijuana is illegal. This is not Colombia or Mexico or probably some place in the Caribbean where marijuana is medicinally legal. But he was talking about it in media houses, in on the street in broad daylight, and nothing was being done to him. And a lot of people were asking, if I were to be caught with msokoto moja, I will clock 4 years in jail. This guy is talking about using it for export. What is happening in our country? I don't know what, gentlemen, what you think about that. What people were saying that huyu mtu ni project, even the way he was doing those cartwheels in his campaign, really, he was not vying for presidency. He was just there as a smoke screen.
You know when we all took our supporter lists, which is a requirement constitutionally that you must take a supporter list of at least 24 counties. Wajakoya only managed 17. Then IEBC told him to go and regularize. And we've spoken about this many times in this show. He was told to go and regularize. They gave him about 3 days. But he performed some miracle, political miracle, that in those 3 days, he was able to get 14,000 signatures from eligible voters. He also got 14,000 photocopies of IDs within 3 days. And we never saw any evidence of collection of those signatures or photocopying of IDs. But the rest of us, we were told, oh, you are only short of one county, but we were never given the same opportunity. So I think from the very beginning, Wajakoya, in my view, was just placed there to try and sanitize the process. And I feel so bad for Justina Wamai, because she comes out as a very honest lady who really wanted to be in leadership of this country. But her so-called principal just betrayed her.
I watched her on the debate and I was awed by her. I had never seen her in action. You saw that, Gerald? I was awed by her action.
She's admirable. I mean, she's admirable. She's very articulate. She knows what but, even for someone like Wajakoya, and let's talk about this in the context of Kenyan politics, you can't tell me that let's go into poaching, which is an illegality from the very beginning. Because by the time you want to tell us we start harvesting Makende Afisi, forget about rearing snakes. You're actually telling us we'll go kill all the hyenas in the Masai Mara. Basically, you're going to poaching. That's poaching.
KWS
it's like
issued
removing
a statement.
Yeah, exactly. I would have actually expected the KWS to actually react and say, no, we can't do this. It's the KWS Act, the KWA Act. I mean, how can this guy be advocating for Makende Afisi? Surely, can we reduce our election into Makende Afisi and Nyoka rearing?
That's someone yesterday was saying, kura, alisema Wajakoya anapata kura mbili kama Makende Afisi.
And the thing is,
no, but on a very serious note, you see, like one of the I go to the Mara quite a bit, and one of the spectacles in the Mara is when the lion, for example, kill, say, a gazelle or an elephant. Then you have the hyenas hanging around. That is a spectacle that most tourists are excited about. So this guy is telling us we kill that spectacle. That generates income into our country. But most importantly, we're actually reducing our election into speaking some nonsensical issues like, hyena testicles and snakes.
I think the fact that this election had a lot of points, including those ridiculous ones, in itself tells us something about us as a nation. We are more open-minded. If you remember the KANU times, there was no that space. That there's space for you to talk about such in itself shows. Yes, but now my only concern as a person who has got to broadcast something like that is the illegality bit of it. So I do agree with Dr. that no, I think there was something about it. You do not talk about those very, very, very blatant. It's like somebody talking about how they are going to do, like you mentioned, poaching live, and nobody is doing anything about them. So probably indeed what people are commenting, that was a smoke screen. Maybe not.
You know, if you told me that let's make Kenya a tax haven, yeah, let's all the billionaires wherever in the world who wants to come and hide their money, you know, bring it here in Kenya, and we invest that money into our infrastructure projects. That for me is a plausible argument. You know, if we say that the people who want to launder their money, you know, they want a safe passage in Kenya. For me, I can buy into that.
It is an illegality, but it is plausible.
It's plausible because for me, you want to pass your billions through Kenya, and I'll tell you, okay, fine. Where do you want me to send the 50%? But your 50% must do a dual carriage from Nairobi to Mandera, a dual carriage from here, to Busia, and that is an economic, an economic opportunity for Kenya.
True.
But to tell me that we start killing hyenas and rearing snakes, it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make economic sense to begin with. Yeah. So Ojakoya, in my view, was just a joke from the very beginning. He's somebody I've known for quite some time, way back when we were a student in England. I've known him for...
You're in England together?
Well, yes, I met Ojakoya in the UK. Actually, we went to the same university.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's actually a professor for real?
Yeah.
No, he's not a professor. He did his postgraduate at the University of Warwick, where I also went. He did law in development. But he's not but he even admitted he's not a professor himself. He doesn't have a doctorate.
Oh, he does not have a doctorate?
Yeah, he said it. He said it himself.
So hii ya profesa niye mwenye alijibandika?
Mimi sijui, ni kama Professor Manyora and the rest who are masquerading as...
He dared to be Manyora.
Well, but you know, there are many... Just like there are so many doctors, but I'm even disappointed these days to use my title doctor, because I think every Tom, Dick and Harry is saying they are doctors when they don't actually understand what.
But I think one thing about Kenyans is, I think what Kenyans want is, Kenyans usually want what they don't have. Do you realize? People who have it don't care.
But we are losing respectability of those titles. You know, to work for a doctorate is not easy, man. It's you actually get married to, when you're doing a doctorate, you get married to the PhD studies.
So are you married?
It's another wife.
Are you married?
I do agree with the doctor, because Alfred Mutua, very few people call him Dr. Alfred Mutua, and apparently he has a PhD in communication. But now we have got Professor George Wajakoya, who does not have a PhD. What am I saying? That indeed we want what we don't have, and I think a lot of us who have their masters, I know there are people out there who have their masters, and every time they say, I want to start my PhD, you get cold feet, because you've been told how hard it is to get a doctorate, and some people clock 10 years by the time they get that doctorate.
Actually, it's not. I did my doctorate at a very early age. By 33, I'd finished my doctorate.
What do you mean?
Well, I did all my degrees back to back.
SIPST.
Yeah?
SIPST.
That is, let me see.
SIPST.
Yeah, actually, by that 3, I'd handed in my PhD.
Some of us, it's 10 years between your degree and your master's, and you're there complaining about children and doing what. Yeah. So when you think of PhD, you're like, Ebungo Jenny, what's our...
But that's why you have to get married. It's a commitment.
It's a commitment.
So once you get committed to research and study, you commit to it. So this thing of people saying that they are doctorates after whatever, I mean, it's laughable. For you to get a PhD, there's a time frame for a genuine PhD. It's between 3.5 to 4 years maximum. Supervised. Supervised.
But one's age does not count, so there's hope for me.
No, there's no age limit. You can still do it. But I think what I find laughable is when people just disappear into some oblivion, and then all of a sudden they appear with a PhD, and like especially these people in the religious sector, Dr. So and so. I mean, you even wonder. And people have abused this title, because, for example, the honorary causa, I mean, what they call the honorary degree. Yeah.
Uhuru has one, His Excellency.
Yeah, but he has no business calling himself a doctor. He cannot put it as a doctor.
He cannot use that as a title.
It's called honorary causa. So it's honorary. So it's not earned. So you cannot call yourself, I'm Dr. Uhuru Kenyatta, because he didn't earn it.
Okay.
So only other people can call you.
Yeah, other people can call you. It's a recognition.
Oh, it's just, okay. Wow.
Yeah, but you cannot say, I'm Dr. Uhuru Kenyatta, no.
What informs that? What informs those honorary doctorates? They bother me.
It's your achievement in society. You can be honored by, say, an institution. You have made a contribution to society and all that. So they honor you. They give you an honorary degree. But you don't go around wielding it and saying yourself, I'm a doctor, so and so. No. It's honorary. So it can only be used in citation. Yeah.
Because there was a time when I was in college, I saw something Dr. Ali Mazrui had written, and it was a long authority, and he had spoken about that. And I think, I cannot remember the details of it. That's like 15, 20 years ago when I was in college. And we all got that fear that indeed a doctorate is not something you just get, because he had spoken about those honorary degrees and the way they are being flashed around.
It's
and people
predicated
are using
on a contribution. What's your contribution to society? And that's one of the reasons why I even refused to take one of these state commendations, because I've given MBS.
What?
Yeah.
You refused?
Yeah. Because we were recognized at the same time with some fellow. There's a some Luo Gong or something, a Chinese, who was given the same honor as me, as MBA.
MBS is burning.
Morano, the burning spear.
The burning spear.
Yeah, the order of the Morano, the burning spear. Yeah, it's a third level of our recognitions. So I asked myself, how can we be listening the same way with a guy who was, because he's a baker, he was baking cakes and promoting cakes in China. And we are put at the same level.
Cakes are whose cakes?
I think we you know what?
I used to
I am
run a
concerned.
bakery here, just opposite Yaya Center.
So alikuwa ametengenezea Uhuru cake kama what happened?
At CG promoting Kenyans, whatever.
Where?
In China. And we are put at the same level. And the citation was totally different. Baking cakes and making contribution to the Constitution of Kenya. I mean, how is that even?
So you can actually reject that thing.
I refused to take mine because I
How
thought
do you
it was
refuse?
not.
You can say I'm not taking it.
Yeah, I refused to go take it because it wasn't worth it.
But remember also when Githeriman, the gentleman who queued with the bag.
At least you are not put with Githeriman. You are like
when he was given his HCS, a lot of.
So what was his contribution other than just having Githeri? And he's
On the
queuing.
queue.
And we are not even sure who he voted anyway in the first instance.
And yesterday, actually, a lot of guys were trying their luck with this thing. I saw another one with a berika, another one showed up with a towel, another one showed up with unga.
The towel guy rocked me from here to Kingdom Come because I thought he was going to get arrested for indecent exposure. Then Steve told me that that's not indecent.
You know, there are so many.
But what have you exposed?
There are so many riffraffs who are being honored every year in this country
stuff, yeah.
for nothing.
Yeah.
Yet you have people like Eliud Kipchoge. I mean, we should really be getting the highest honors in this country.
I think that's become a political reward scheme. I don't know who does these things because sometimes you look at
It's
it.
even useless because it's
Just rewarding
devaluing it.
circumstances.
By the time you have like 1,000 people you are rewarding, come on, what is their contribution cumulatively?
But I think those things were pedalized and pedestrianized recently because during the Kibaki time, I'm not saying this I'm saying as an individual, my opinion. I noticed that time it was not so pedestrian to just being awarded something during the Kibaki and even the era of the late former President Moi, that you couldn't just be awarded something just randomly.
During Moi's time,
recently.
they were a bit strict.
Yeah.
And even Kibaki. But during Uhuru's time, he's just dishing it to friends, to some idlers, or guys just shouting. You shout Jubilee and you're given an award.
Pauline Njoroge, HCS.
A guy like Ati, what is this funny blogger? He's an uncouth fellow. Alai. TOGW.
Even Pauline Njoroge has a head of state commendation. But, well.
I mean, a guy like that basically is a crook incarnate and he's being honored.
Nasikia ameanguka
State
kileleshwa.
commendation.
Steve, kuna information ya Robert Alai performance yake Kileleshwa kunaendaje MC? Alikuwa anasimama NC.
But you see now, but
See, I thought
if
it's
you
the
want,
guy who pipeline huko.
if you want, let me give you a hack, guys. I want to give you a hack.
Life hack.
Yes, a life hack. If you want the easiest way to a political seat, come to Nairobi, go to Uptown, come to Kilimani, Kilimani Ward, come to Kileleshwa Ward. Lavington is in Kilimani Ward, right? We are sharing the same MC. Kilimani Ward, right?
Is Lavington? I don't know. Is Lavington or Kilimani?
I think less Lavington, Kilimani Ward. I think goes that straight to Lavington. Part of Lavington. There's the other part of Lavington which goes to the other side, Dagoretti, and all that. So if you want the easiest way to a seat, come to Uptown. Come to Kilimani Ward. Pima mahali yako mzuri.
People don't even care.
Kata shamba. Useme inaanzia wapi pale kwa kona Valley Arcade. Ukienda barabara hiyo kwenda Lavington, ukuje ufungie hapa chini. Enda kwa Ngware. Tafuta watu 1000. Waambie hamisheni kura. Waweke kwa basi. Wahamishe kura. Siku ya kupiga kura, watu 1000 wakupigia. Those are the only voters you have.
Yeah.
You become a winner. Tell me which campaign alliance ran in Kileleshwa that people voted for him.
I've not even seen him.
Yeah. So that's what you do and you get your seat straight off. So if you want to be a politician, kama umekaa umeboeka sana uko Eastlands, maisha yamekuchosha, there's an easy way to become a member of the county assembly. Kuja hapa these guys in Uptown, they don't vote.
They don't vote.
They don't vote. So you can actually define your voting block and you can define your voters.
Yeah.
Unatafuta mahali wako wenye unapiga kura na unatafuta wapiga kura wako. Wanakupigia kura na unatangazwa, unakula Biblia, unasonga. Only 1,000 votes is enough to make you a member of county assembly.
In those random those estates
Uptown.
where people don't vote.
Karen Ward is a bit tricky because Karen Ward flows all the way to part of Rongai.
Is it?
Yes. Kathaka. Inakula part of Kathaka Cooperative University because of schools there. Comes in towards Galeria, Gari Road and all that. So you have a lot of, 1 inch who vote. It can be a bit tricky. So if you want an easy seat, come to Kilimani Ward, ama uende Kileleshwa Ward. You can replace Ali in 2027. Ama ukuja hapa.
Is he elected?
Yeah?
Is he elected?
Yeah. Ali said Mheshimiwa Honorable Robert Alai OGW.
He's been elected.
Yes.
Oh,
Kenya's election is just such
that's
a
interesting.
joke.
We have a few fallen soldiers like Naomi Shaban of Taita Taveta. I have also seen reports that Cliff Ombeta has conceded defeat. We have also seen the reports of Nick
Conceding everywhere.
Yeah, it's conceding. I appreciate that. If there's something that I appreciate and if there's something that I saw even Dr. William Ruto do during the by-elections. I remember there were some by-elections where they were hotly contested and people were talking about how there was an MCA somewhere in, was it in Kiagu constituency or which what is? And he quickly said, we need to learn the art of conceding defeat when it comes to elections, that once you have lost elections, it does not mean that everything is over. There were also reports, probably, Gerald, we can keep maybe talking to our people, we find out whether it's true
There's some
Harvey.
sentences about
Nelson Harvey.
Harvey.
Yes, Nelson Harvey and Cliff Ombeta. I've seen Cliff Ombeta, that one is confirmed.
I thought Wanyonyi won.
Wanyonyi, yes, Wanyonyi took for Westlands. Yeah.
So my president
has gone kaputi. Yes. Looking at Nairobi County as well, results coming in is at Sakaja. Johnson Sakaja is leading at 54%. 1,100 polling stations already have been submitted the results. And Johnson Sakaja is leading at 54%. Again, Jubilee's
Sakaja.
Yeah. I think it's already taking it home.
Out of the 3,000 and something polling stations, so he has done already 1,000.
Yes, he's done already 1,100 and he's leading at 54%.
Okay.
So I think one thing about these elections is, I think once someone has opened a gap, it's difficult to catch up. I don't know. That's the feeling I'm getting.
That's the scary part of it when the news or when the results are transmitted slowly. Because we do not have the actual gap. Because indeed what you say is true. Once somebody has given you mileage, like they've given you a head start, catching up, because the fever, the election fever is somewhat, it's not like the way Musimi was saying, telling us uko mashinani Kitui eti, some places, this side, somebody is very, very, very high, and then another side, they are low. Mostly if you look at it across the country when it comes, especially to the presidential election, the feel is even. That if this area is Azimio, it is Azimio. Yes. You cannot debate with that. And if this area is not Azimio, it is UDA, it is UDA. Even those small 0 point something percent za Wajakoya, hizo za hii yake hiyo. So once somebody has given you that head start, if they are your competitor in a certain region, you're almost assured by the time 30% of the polling stations have brought their feed, you can start conceding. When they do the 50% now, you post on Twitter. Yes, because indeed, it is very hard. It is very hard. We let us not confuse. I saw people posting about the way the election here US what happened. Let us not confuse our Kenyan election.
Let people console themselves. It's wacha nakwambia ushaianguka kura wewe. Unajua ushaianguka kura msoni.
Sijawahi anguka kura, but naona Mama Martha Karua senior council
kitanda inafanya hivi.
Mama Martha Karua senior council amesema it is not done till it's done. Hiyo ndio
conceding. That is conceding.
Hiyo ni conceding ama ni kujiconsole?
Bring it on the screen, please. Just bring it on the screen. Some of those tweets. Just bring some of those tweets on the screen.
Martha Karua senior council.
Look at the retweets. Ona vile kanasonga. Ona.
Inatweetiwa kuretweetiwa.
Ni kama vile unaweka mafuta Kenya hii. Venye bei ambayo inapandanga kwa hiyo kitu kwa pump.
That's concession.
We still do. We applaud her and we hail her for being the Kenyan Kamala Harris. We all feel for us feminists, for me, toxic feminazis. Tulifurahi sana kumwona pale mama akiwa.
They need to stop being a toxic feminazi.
But see, I think one of the things that we need to discuss about this election is the level of dishonesty, especially from leaders. Actually, dishonesty, but also just lack of integrity and principles. Someone like Mother Karua, I was so shocked that after all the hula-baloo about that she doesn't share anything with Raila, she said very nasty things about Raila. Then all of a sudden, she's all over. Mudava did the same thing, said about Ruto, Wetangula, the same thing. But so I what I ask myself is, are Kenyans actually conscious? Are they cognizant of this, the way wanapangwa? Because this, and that's what I was telling earlier, in Kenyan politics, when you define theft or thieves, there has to be honor among thieves.
Yes.
Because these are people who insult each other, abuse each other 1 minute, the next minute they're actually together. Look at Mother Karua. Mother Karua was so outright. She shares no principles or nothing about Raila Odinga. Mudavadi, the same thing, says Ruto is a thief, Aralipo, but so at the end of the day, it's us Kenyans who are being duped by these political, by these so-called leaders. Actually, me, I will call them political merchants. They are not even leaders, because leadership, requires that that title of leadership has a certain level of respectability you must accord it to. These are political merchants. These are business people.
I do agree with you, because I think even for Martha Karua, for a lot of people, especially the swing vote, those even who decided not, or even those who had decided and decided not to vote, were really affected by Martha Karua's sway. Everybody thought Martha Karua's sway is going to pull the mountain towards Raila, but it just made a lot of people who believed in her as the buffer, as the voice of reason, as the lady who is uncompromised, because that's the image she had portrayed to Kenyans for a very long time, as the person who is campaigning for the rights of women and children, as that person who cannot be influenced with small tokens, monetary ones, or even positions of power. We had that image. I'll tell you this, as a woman growing up, she was one of those ladies that I looked up to. From when she was an MP in Gishugu, she stood out and stood to be that no-nonsense lady. She walked out of the Kibaki government. That is a government that everybody looked up to, but she just decided,
So let me ask you this question. Had Mother Karua vied on our own, will we be talking about her the same way we are talking about her now? And the reason I'm saying that, it's, for me, I'm so disappointed in Mother Karua that she has actually allowed herself to be used as a marketing tool. Because Mother Karua on her own running for president, she couldn't even have, I don't even think she was able to run for president on her own. But this fellow smartly said, okay, let's bring this mama. She seems to have a certain appeal to the public. So she actually allowed herself to be used.
It's the moral appeal. It's that edge she has. That, the sparkly, shiny, clean edge that us Kenyans had given Martha Karua. You do realize that a lot of people use.
I think we have your friend here on phone.
Who?
Manyora.
That I want to hear.
Good morning. Professor.
I can't hear.
Na usiongee mbaya kwa sababu uko live, ha? Mambo vipi?
Mambo niko sawa kabisa.
Unajua unaweza sema hapa sasa maneno mengine yenye si mzuri. Yo, well, good morning. Oh, it's afternoon.
Niambie.
Salama sana. Mambo inakaaje? Niko na daktari Ekuru wa Kota hapa. Anasema umemwepa sana.
Ekuru wa Kota ananitukana bwana, presidential material bwana.
Ekuru salimia daktari yako.
Prof.
Wewe, ejok.
Ejok no nyai.
Wewe daktari wewe. Unajua wewe ni presidential material. It should not bother you.
No, but you're also a professor, and I expect a professor to behave himself in a certain way.
No, but I never stepped out of the lane. I just said wasted vote.
Yeah, so why will you say my vote is wasted when I make a decision? But you see, for you, if I had supported your candidate, I would have been a good guy. You would not have said that my vote is wasted if I voted for your guy.
In fact, the guy you voted for is my candidate, if you don't know.
No, you are Azimio,
it was just banter. It's called political banter.
I think, Gerald, you need to remind Professor he's live on air.
He's live and he has declared.
Everybody is hearing him declare.
He has declared his stand. And it looks like he's not ashamed of that stand.
Na amegeuka juzi tu.
Professor,
Prof, are you conveniently changing your vote now that you can see where the tide is going?
No, I'm just trying to tell you wouldn't even know where my vote is. I voted yesterday. You know who I voted for.
I know who you voted for.
You wouldn't know who I voted for.
And that's why you are bitter with me. And that's why you are castigating me on Twitter.
No. Wewe mkubwa wewe ya bwana. Unajua sisi Twitter. Sisi kumbe wewe ukiambia ile maneno sisi tunaambia you commit suicide.
No.
We are told stuff, bwana. We are told the things.
I just thought your tweet required a corresponding response.
Right over.
Everybody told you you had responded. You had overreacted.
Is that so?
No, when I say wasted vote, that is just it's normal stuff people say. Where you're
Why? Okay, Prof.
Don't take it to heart.
No, between you and me, when a voter casts their vote, they're actually making a constitutional and democratic decision.
That's all.
So you cannot say, predicated on that democratic and constitutional decision, you cannot describe somebody's vote as being wasted.
It again is a matter of who you are talking to.
Yeah.
You have seen the kind of exchanges between the Grand Mula and the Donald Kipkorel. No, we are above these other fellows, and we can have banter manner.
Okay.
How would our vote be wasted? You certainly vote for somebody. You want to vote, not waste.
So, but then, why would someone like you describe somebody else's vote as being wasted? I mean, it's
But you are not somebody else. You are Dr. Ekuru Kot.
No. I'm just an ordinary Kenyan.
I agree with that part. You're not just any other person. You're Dr. Ekuru Kot. That's a big deal in this country.
And by the way, that is how everybody would take it. That Manyora is just cracking a political joke, banter, and our presidential candidates overreacting. You are overreacting over something.
Okay, so
people tell us great bad things. People tell us things on Twitter.
So let's
don't even block them.
Let's do this, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Let's have a reconciliatory dialogue.
That's good.
Let's talk. Let's agree with Bitok. When he can have a friendly fire
we
exchange.
should have him now. I know he's not very far from us, so he can actually make his way to the studio. Professor. Professor. Najua uko mbali karibu.
Hello.
Najua uko mbali sana. He has disappeared. Ukisikia mtu amesema hello. But anyway,
so why did he call? What has he said?
He has said that was political banter, and he has said he's William Ruto's guy. So the Lord is good.
He says, as me a fellow.
But okay, this is all right. This is politics for you. That is politics for you.
No, but you see, Bitok,
and at least
a lot of Kenyans have said, in siasa. But can also talk about the type of politics we must talk in Kenya. Because my definition of politics is the totality of everything. You know, politics doesn't have to be, conflictual. It doesn't have to be violent. You know, when you talk about politics, you're talking about policy decisions, either on matters, our security, our health, our education, employment, economy, and all that. So people should not use certain derogatory terms about against others and say it is politics. I believe we can do clean politics, where it's about the competition of ideas. Musoya can tell me this is what I stand for, and I can challenge ideas. That for me is what I prefer. Politics should not be about negativity. It's not about fighting. And I think the day we in Kenya will begin to have a conversation about our country, whether it's from a political point of view or whatever, I think that's when we begin to change. Let's not just make Kenya like a shamba, a farm where we go and harvest and then people. We can make Kenya better, and by making Kenya better, we are saying let's make the lives of each and every Kenyans better. Because Kenyan per se, Kenya is misnomer without the people. So Kenya is the people. So if you are not going to make the lives of Kenyans better, then Kenya cannot be better, because Kenya is us. Kenya without the population we call Kenyans.
It's not there. It's just land.
It's just land. It's a geographical accident. Ni shamba tu. So, yeah. So huwezi kusema ati, let's make Kenya better, but our relationship as individuals, as people, is bad. Okay. So we have to make sure that we correlate with each other, peacefully. You are comfortable, I'm comfortable. That's what makes Kenya a better country. Not the abstract of just make Kenya better. What does that mean?
There's some guys that we have here on the line. So we have Anthony Amino. Good morning, Anthony. Anthony, good morning. Anthony, good morning. Anthony has not unmuted himself. I think he's not speaking. Okay. Nathan Wekesa, can you unmute yourself and speak, please? Wekesa, good morning. Okay. Pia kama ametuacha. Julius Muimi, good morning. Julius, good morning. Okay. Rishika Simu, good morning. Mambo vipi? Good morning. Ni aje?
Good morning. How are you? Kwaje?
Salama sana. Mambo inaenda namna gani?
Maina from Nyeri.
Maina, mambo vipi?
Uko aje?
Niko salama, baba sina maneno.
Salimia Noni.
Nimesalimika sana Maina, geithika muno.
Kohana atia?
Uchina urumodo anyere. Kohana atia mathera?
Udhaya.
Oh, you're in Uthaya.
You remember last time you were in studio, biogeithie mheshimiwa wakili. Ana atia? Mheshimiwa uko aje wakili?
Nekwega fio, kwa atia?
Uko fiti?
Niko salama.
You remember the last time I called you, the three of you?
Yeah.
I told you the rebellion Uhuru will get from Central.
I remember. I do remember.
People have spoken.
Yes.
We are tired of their government. Na wewe wakili ulikataa kusimama na nilikuwa nimekuambia usimame tukusupport. Ulikataa kusimama. Why?
Sikukataa, nilichujwa na IBC.
Hiyo ndio maneno tumekuwa tukiongelelea hapa kwa studio about vile wakili hakusimama.
Yeah,
true. But at least now we have a voice, not sikusukumiwa mtu. Ati tukueni why? Kwa nini mtu anaretire kuwa president atusukumia mtu mwenye anataka? Aache tuchague mtu mwenye sisi tunataka. People are tired of the government. Whereby you are oppressing us every day. Life has become so expensive. Yani hata I don't know, ni kitu gani hata watu watafanya wapate pesa. Hata anahurumia the incoming president because anapata serikali yenye haina pesa. Madeni. Yeah? But at least now our voice
ndio sababu tulisema tupunguze mizigo wakatupiga vita kali sana.
Because wao ndio wanatubebesha hiyo mzigo. Kampuni zote SGL ni yao. Highway yenye wanajenga ni yao. Hiyo wamejenga juzi inalipwa cash. Nilijaribu kulipa na M-Pesa another day there karibu nifuzwe.
Hawataki M-Pesa.
Unajiuliza why? Kwa nini? Why do they want cash?
They want to collect the money.
Zibesha.
Inaenda kwa nani?
Si unajua inaenda kwa nani?
Hawataki paper trails ndio?
Kabisa.
Sijui kwenye
daktari ndiye anajua.
I know sahi wamepiga simu hidi wa nini? Watengenezewa ICU.
Lakini Maina utatuambiaje jinsi vile watu wa Nyeri wako wametulia vipi?
How is the ground? Watu wanasemaje pale?
Watu wanasema vipi kule?
Tumefurahia sisi. We are happy people. Hatuna vurugu huku, hakuna vurugu. Vurugu yetu ni kupiga kura kwenye tunataka. Period.
Mmetulia sasa, hakuna shida.
Hakuna shida huku.
Watu wameanza kusherehekea.
Tunangojea president sasa tusherehekee tutoke wajue. Dynasty wajue.
Okay. So let me ask you, there's just a convention we're having here, and we're asking ourselves, what does this election mean for Central Kenya? What is it that has made you guys vote like the way you have voted? Nini imefanya Mlima Kenya ikapiga kura vile ambavyo imeweza kupiga siku ya leo?
You know one thing? Wiki quiz all Mlima Kenya hatupendi msaliti.
Okay.
That is one thing. Two, hatupendi oppressor. Why are you oppressing people? Three, uliharibu biashara zetu, umeharibu economy ya kila kitu, si ndio? As we always ask for a clean environment whereby we can do a business, nothing else. Umetukia, unataka sisi tufanyie biashara wapi? Umemonopolize maziwa, umefanya yako, si ndio? Biashara zote umefanya zako na matajiri wenzako, si ndio? Corruption umeifanya ni kitu kila. Alafu umekuja hapa unasema unaita wengine wezi, and yet wewe ndiye mwizi mkubwa, and we know. You know, because of their family interest, that is why you're pushing us to kuchagua mtu mwenyewe unataka you protect COVID money, cancer. Hizi wamerut, ukiangalia nani waliangusha KA, familia yao, si ndio? Maziwa ni wao. Yani we know, sisi hatujui, but kwa nini atuforce tufanye? So now yeye anaambia ati ask Kikuyu. No, ni yeye na watu wao ndio wameiba serikali sisi. And we don't want them. Na kusema ati Kikuyu nitawaambia, anatuambia kama nani? We have our own vote. Na tumemuonesha hivyo. Hawezi kutuambia kitu.
Gerald, there's something I want to ask Maina. Maina, Dironire, I saw you had put a meme at Mukanie igotweta Adwaito, which essentially translates to let nobody call us Adwaito. Does that mean that we want to rule out completely the tribal politics in Kenya? Is that the feeling on the ground there in Nyeri?
Thank you. Tutie wao ni wakina. Tutie wao. Nature yao sisi wao. Anaipa serikali na pesa wakichukua na kina Murathe, si ndio? Sisi wao wanakula na wao. Anatuita wao wakati nataka kura zetu, si ndio?
So
we don't want that.
So the mountain feels
that anymore.
So the mountain feels it's only called when it's time to vote, but when it's time to have prosperity, it does not come to the mountain. Is that the feeling out there? Do you want to tell us that?
Yes, it goes to individual, the friends of where the power is in the family. And it doesn't come to us. As we work very hard for ourselves. And you know that.
And there's something else Dr. Okot had also mentioned earlier on about honor amongst thieves. Do you feel in the mountain that people only come together when they want Is that the feeling on the ground, that sometimes we are told somebody is a thief when they are not necessarily a thief just because they've disagreed with the powers that be? And this is a question that I'm asking sincerely as an individual and even on behalf of the people who are listening and have sent that question. What is the take out there on the mountain about people partnering to call others thieves when indeed it is a smoke screen? Tell us exactly what people are saying on the ground.
You see, that is the narrative that they had created. And so that to choose Ruto, and that family they have this thing of use and dump. They use you once they finish with you, they dump you. So for their own interest. And we know they are the thieves. We know very well, we know they are the thieves. So kuita wengine wezi, that is something wrong. Akubandika. And we have story whereby some of our relatives are in power and they are being told to go to State House and pay 100,000 waite huyu mwizi. Imagine Maina Kamanda, I can charge that siogopi. Alikuwa anawapea 100,000 waende kwa street waseme Ruto ni mwizi. So when it comes to their turn, Ruto ni mwizi. Because they want now to change the game, but they remain in power. No way. They wanted, sasa huyu ndio baba ingie wasukume BBI. Hakuna mali naenda.
My final question, Gerald and Daktari to Maina, is the mountain redeeming its image with this election? Is the fact that the mountain is not voting for, in quotes, their own, is the mountain trying to redeem the image that has been peddled, the narrative that has been peddled across the country, across the decades, that the mountain only votes for their own? Is that what is trying to happen when the mountain is trying to vote against the candidate that has been recommended by one of their own? Let me put it in Kikuyu dialect. Tumechoka.
We have been having 3 presidents. True. Wametufanyia nini? We work for our own money. We want to succeed. So why hii narrative one of our own? While ukisema one of our own, wanasaidia tu their girlfriends, their wives, and the family and their friends. Sisi ni nani tukue tunabeba watu kila saa? No. Hatutaki kuchukiwa na other tribe. Kila saa tunaambiwa we are voting one on our own. Hatutaki hata hiyo presidency. Hatutaki. We want someone who is neutral.
Hata presidency hatutaki.
Hatutaki. We don't want it. Wacha ikuwe na wengine lakini someone who is neutral. Someone who is focused. Si mtu atuwakuta kuambiwa ni kutumiwa mtu because of interest ya watu.
Wow. I love that.
Mine, I have a question for you.
Yes.
There's an example I like to use every time, especially against my Modoniwas. You know, my adopted county is Nyeri. I come from Gatitu hapo, Morogoro.
Gatitu, Morogoro, yes?
Yes. So, you know, when I speak to my in-laws,
yes.
I remember 2013, 2017, they were told, Durako, Kumera. So tell me, are you guys regretting electing President Uhuru Kenyatta twice, when they actually thrice, 2013 and in 2017 twice? Is there a regret? What is the feeling on the ground? Are people regretting electing this man?
They are regretting so much because we thought that because he is a royal family, he won't come to destroy our business. He's not going to steal. But now he has proved otherwise. People are regretting. You don't know the hatred that people have for Uhuru now. You don't know. Jaribu kutaja hiyo jina Central, utachomwa. Utachomwa. Taja mtu mwingine.
No. We do plead for tolerance. From the tackle, we do ask the people of Nyeri and the people of Kenya. We plead for tolerance. Tafadhali tusichome mtu.
No. We have no fight. We have no fight.
It's being symbolic.
It's a figure of speech.
It's figure of speech.
How people are fed up with Uhuru. They are fed up. They don't want even to hear that. You remember the other day he went there. He was telling them, no, now nyinyi watu nawaambia muende hivi. Akaambiwa wewe maliza uende nyumbani. Ati nawafungulia hii karatina. Wewe maliza hata usiongee. Just go. Go. I don't want to see you. Because people are fed up. You see the moment umedestroy biashara yetu Nairobi kama yenye mimi nafanya. It helps hata ule mtu wako nyumbani ushago huko. Sisi anapata kitu kidogo, naweza kiniambia Maina nataka 5,000 unamtumia, si ndio? Mimi umekuja umetupiga umefanya tufilisike, like there is one leader from the other community anafanyanga watu wake wakuwe maskini, ndio kila saa anamwabudu kama Mungu. Anaambia yeye ndiye mkombozi wao, si ndio? That is the narrative that Uhuru wanted to use. That now making us poor so that anaweza to rule hivi everywhere. Amepata zingine sasa amejua.
So poverty is being weaponized to be able to capture the souls and the will of the people. Do you think that is what is happening in this country?
Yeah, true. That is why they don't even want to give jobs to youth, because they will need those youth wakati wa election kifika to cause violence, to vote them. When they give them 200 or 300, they think that wamesaidika. You get?
Okay.
But Maina,
money, like,
in terms of businesses that you people have lost during the reign of Uhuru Kenyatta, just for our viewers, can you just maybe paint a picture? What kind of businesses are these that you've lost, and what has been the effect of that?
My thought is whatever you are lost, because being a president, you have a lot of power. True. Even getting investors from other countries, like we have Saiso, we have Pairetram, we have Cotton. True. Them, they are concentrating on the roads. Rather than concentrating on industrialization, whereby call Adidas, kuja fungue kampuni yao huku, material watoe huku, workers watoe huku, mpate tax or whatever they are exporting, true. But for them, they don't want that, because them, they are concentrating on, they want to build roads so that they get kickback from Chinese and whatever. Kwa nini wajenge hospitali, they equip hospitali waajiri madaktari? Let them do the laptop project that they said up to now. Why? Because they are hawatapata kickback, true. Once wameweka industrialization ikuwe power, kuna make sure kila mtu anapata kitu. You see, they will never rule you again at you do this, go that. Hawataki hivyo. They want us to remain poor. No, tumekataa. Tumechoka. We are tired.
So who is taking,
about our people.
who is winning Central Kenya or the mountain?
Yeah?
Who is winning the mountain or Central Kenya?
Central Kenya is yellow.
It's yellow,
He
eh?
has donated. Not because he has given us anything, but because now we have seen. At least he can reason. He has, at least, even if we cannot give him 100%, but at least 85% he has called an A. We can sit down and reason and work together, do business, give us a good business environment. And it's someone who can, it's not someone who always calls those old glutons. Wakaitini, they talk about the country, Atuoli come shouting there, oh, mutajua. Never. Because
you call them old gluttons. Ati umewaita old gluttons.
Yes.
But anyway, I think you are right, Maina, because hata ukiangalia kampeni ya Uhuru Kenyatta na Ruto from 2013-2017 tuliambiwa kwamba hawa ni my brothers nini, at least hata kurudisha mkono bana. He is part of our African custom and tradition.
Oh, not even that. Hata kama angetaka tuchague na nini, angekaa tu neutral, si ndio?
Yes.
But now you have to know why he is not neutral. Because he has interest. You have going president. Why do you have interest in the incoming president? Kama umefanya vizuri. If you have done your part, shida iko wapi? You just go home peacefully, enjoy your retirement, you have protection, you are given whatever they give to the president, true. But this one is so much into, he is the chairman of Azimio, true?
Yes.
Why do you want to be a chairman of an incoming government?
Because he wants to continue for a third term through the back door.
Thank you, and that is why he wants to enforce BBI.
So anyway, tuko tunaambiwa hii ni kimodo fani, siji kimodo mugoroki, saizi is a favorite.
You know, they have he realized, you know, the family, that royal family, called the royal family, they knew that they cannot manipulate Ruto being the president. But this old man is easy to manipulate because yeye kazi yake tu ni kulala. Yeye tu ni puppet wa kuwekwa pale juu. Si ndio? Yeye ni wa kuwekwa kama flower girl pale. Hapa chini ile mambo inafanyika.
Maina. Maina Mtumia 5,000.
Nitakutumia asubuhi. Because we are happy people.
Unajua umesema hadi mtu anakupigia anakuambia Maina nitumie 5,000. Unasema hata mimi.
Something else, Maina. We know that a lot of people in Central Kenya are business people and farmers, and we are wondering how they are preparing for the government that is going to come in, whether it's the Azimio government or whether it's the Ruto government. You know, as a media house, we do not pick stance ile itaingia ndio tutakubali, but watu wameanza kuchukua circles, Watu wameanza kukuja pamoja, wafanya biashara wamejipanga vizuri, ndio ile serikali itaingia iwapige support. Kumbuka kwamba serikali ambazo zinaingia zinatarajia tuta increase contribution ya tax. Na tunajua sana sana watu wangi tax cause hawana income. Sasa tunauliza huko Nyeri unaona kukwaje? Watu wameform circles na zile groups ambazo zitaomba support kwa serikali, kwa sababu both governments Azimio na UDA wamecommit watasaidia mkulima mdogo kuboost biashara ndio tax iongezeke. Ado nemeruteire kuri haigoti.
You see, the problem is not the groups are there.
Yeah.
The circles are there.
Yes.
But where is the government to enforce or to assist the farmers? It is not there. So now we want a government that can come in. We have everything. We imagine in Africa, we are saying at Tuna, we don't have maize. In Kenya, at Tuna import. Nini hatuna mvua tuko nayo. Soil, everything, a good environment. But serikali yenye tuko nayo
ICD.
Because them, they are the ones who are importing the maize.
Oh, they are the ones who are benefiting from us.
Yes.
Okay.
Hiyo ndio shida. Shida si ati ni hatuna nini. We have all the resources.
So watu wamejipanga.
Sisi tumejipanga.
Okay.
Nimekwambia hivi, watu wanangoja tu announce hivi. Utaona hiyo celebration itakuwa.
Na ile kazi tutafanya.
Haya. Thank you so much man. Radhimo muno. All the very best.
Hata nyinyi mbarikiwe sana.
Asante sana. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Barikiwa.
Thank you so much.
All right.
We are very happy now.
Thank you my brother. Barikiwa sana.
Okay, bye, thanks.
All right. Have a good day. There's something here I had to bring on screen now. Majority leader. Amos Kimunya.
Ameoshwa.
Oh, and
Steve utuwekee
I
hapa.
saw
Tuwekee
initial reports that he was not doing very well. I don't know whether it has been declared. Because there were initial reports that in the mountain we do not yet have a Jubilee candidate who has probably done well. Indeed, we did not want to report that until IBC declares, but we want to see. We want to see what is happening.
Right. So that's a good friend. That's a good friend, honorable doctor. I don't be is a good doctor to avoid offending a real doctor here.
Really? Okay. Doctor of what?
You need to confirm because I don't know.
I don't know why I agree with you, Dr. Okot. I always ask, is a doctor of what? Ni daktari wa kudunga sindano ama ni daktari wa PhD?
Hata Dr. Ringding ni daktari.
Oh, Chineke me. Please don't post my reaction to that. So
We have Dr. Amos. You can give it to the public.
yes, Dr. Amos Kimunya.
You can screen on the screen, yes.
This is Twitter? Or is it Facebook? This is Facebook. Honorable Dr. Amos Kimunya has said, thank you. Thank you, Kipipiri. Yesterday's election was historic for the Mount Kenya region, including Kipipiri, and will hopefully offer a moment of reflection. The people did make their decision, which was different from our expectation, our being him saying our expectation. In a democracy, the will of the people prevails, and I and Team Kimunya will respect their choices. We do extend our congratulations to the winners, and we wish to thank the people of Kipipiri for the opportunity of serving them for 15 years. That's a decade and a half. It was a responsibility that my family, team, and I carried out with honor and dedication, and through which we all learned a lot and touched many lives and made our humble contribution to making the world a better place. We thank all who supported us in this journey. We appreciate that life is dynamic, shaped by constantly emerging and often surprising circumstances. We did our best for Kipipiri, and we are proud of our achievements. That history will never be erased. The people have, however, made their choice, and we respect it. We wish them well, and may God bless Kenya and Kipipiri. That is Honorable Dr. Amos Kimunya's post on social media. Essentially, we do classify that as a concession if you look at it the way it has been worded. Absolutely, some concession. There is detail to it. I do say whoever is doing his writing for him is excellent, and we do appreciate on his behalf the people of Kipipiri. Like we say, we are just relaying his message. We are not the ones who wrote that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we encourage more.
But when you know, I've always been fascinated by this expression of Mount Kenya region. Some of those regions are not even closer to the mountain, because actually, you know, Mount Kenya, strictly speaking, is in Meru.
It is in Meru.
It's not even in what we describe as central Kenya. So again, this is one of the lies. I mean, the political lies.
The historical lies you mentioned. I do agree with Daktari. The mountain is more in Meru, but actually, it has, I think, because it is the most prominent feature in that region. Because, like, sometimes when we refer to Mount Kenya, we even talk to the rift. A bit of the rift is referred as Mount Kenya. When you're saying Mount Kenya vote, a huge chunk is in Nakuru, Laikipia, and it is all referred to as the Mount Kenya vote. So I guess it is figurative also. But I do agree with you. It is a historical lie. Sometimes when we speak about the mountain, it is not necessarily the mountain. But let us not also forget that the people in Meru and Saraka, that area, they have always voted in a particular pattern. We do remember there were great supporters of a former president, the late Honorable Mwai Kibaki, since 1992, since Matiba time. They never voted for Matiba, the Merus. They did vote for Kibaki, so they were Kibaki people. So indeed, I do agree with you, Daktari. The fallacy of the mountain has been peddled long enough. And like Maina said, we are going to dismantle that narrative.
There's actually a chap here. Let me see if I can send the same.
Levi Monyeri.
This gentleman here. Let me send it to see so I can see and put it on screen. I don't know. But anyway, so this guy, he has a very interesting way of conceding defeat. He's called Levi Monyeri, who contested for Mukurweni MP seat. And he has said, I concede defeat in the Mukurweni parliamentary race. The intellectual margin between the electorate and myself was too wide to enable the meeting of minds.
Did he just call the voters dump?
Yes.
Oh Lord.
In a very beautiful language. Unajua kuna zingine unaambiwa ni mjinga na English mzuri sana. Mpaka unasema thank you.
The intellectual mind between I and the voters could not come to. No, it was too wide.
It did not come to a meeting. It did not come to a meeting.
Well, but you see, on the other hand, he didn't say that he was of superior intelligence. He just said it was wide. Yeah. So his could have been lower.
Yeah, maybe they were 90.
So he has not placed exact precedent.
Exactly, it could have been either way. Maybe his was lower or the election was low. So
I absolutely love this election. It is bringing out a whole lot of stuff, and the dynamics are changing and revolving every single minute. Yeah. I tell you, Daktari and Gerald, we are looking at a very unique election where even the people's opinions are making you pause and think. Very absolutely interesting. We are still waiting for something that Dennis had posted. He was supposed to shoot something. What is happening? What is Etana saying?
Okay. Things about for the newcomers, Karaori has come in from to Kasarani. By the way, Pongezi, congratulations, Ronald Karaori was taken the Kasarani seat on an independent ticket. Women rep as well, Lina Toto, the small girl from Bomet. She's coming in.
That girl is 24 years old.
24 years. What were you doing when you were
very brilliant?
You're busy walking up and down the road and eating chips in town.
Eating chips in town. And I remember I served in the 2002 elections. I worked for the ECK. That time I was how old? I was 20. Yeah, I was 22. So it was around the same age group. And for me, it was just a job. I really...
Which ECK, which year?
2002.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I was a young girl, and it was just a job. And my dad called me and told me, "You come up here. What are you doing? Kuja nyumbani ufanye kazi." And I went running because he had really inculcated that culture of work. So that's work, and he told you be honorable. So yes, you are honorable in everything you do. But leadership was not really. That's the year I joined campus. So I was already in a few groups which I was a leader, but I couldn't say at home. I had already started hiyo kokwa saying uko ndani. Siasa nilianza kitambo jameni, but I had to do it in
So in 2003 when you joined campus?
2001.
2001?
Yeah, I joined JSTAR 2001.
Makes me very old.
The way I keep telling Akine Gerald, here they are my sons. Please, Doctor, please don't burst that bubble of mine. I call him my son. These ones I call them my grandsons.
Who are you calling your son? Me now. Me now,
Gerald,
your
you
son.
are totally my son.
Maybe the sun that shines on you.
So 2001 I was already doing my second year of my PhD.
Oh, no.
There's hope for me. Then.
No, there's no hope. Don't lie to you.
There's no hope for my PhD.
Yes, there is.
I want a PhD so damn bad, but after my children graduate from university. But still, I do agree with you that some of us at that point, hatukuwa kama Lynette amechangamka mapema. Mimi singefikiria leadership. Hiyo tu ya doulos. In Daystar, we had a students union called doulos. That's the best I could do. That's really.
But the thing is, speaking of that, I just think that I quite admire Lynette and I think many other
young
candidates and leaders out there.
Yeah.
I think in this country, I wish we could go back to our traditional African customs where the elderly will retreat and allow the younger